Hello, hello, check. Hello, 1, 2, 3, check. Hello, hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello, mic test. Hello. Hello. Mic test. Hello. Hello. Hello.
I request the chairperson, Dr. Kuldeep Kumar Reina, and the distinguished speakers of the session, Dr. Sisa Thomas, Professor Arun Kumar Tangirala, and Professor Dayanand Daksa, to please come forward to the stage. One more member. One more member. One more member. One more member. Yeah. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to the chairperson for this session, Dr. Kuldeep Kumar Reina. Dr. Kuldeep Kumar Reina is the Vice Chancellor of MS Ramaya University of Applied Sciences, Bangalore since April 2021. He completed his PhD in ferroelectric liquid crystal materials and pursued postdoctoral research at the Watson Laboratory, University of Manchester, UK. He has made pioneering contributions to material science. Dr. Reina established the Material Research Laboratory. He has published over 270 research papers, delivered 60 invited lectures at global conferences, and also holds 3 patents. He has supervised 36 PhD theses and 50 postgraduate theses, along with mentoring postdoctoral research scholars. Recognized for his excellence, Dr. Reina has received several prestigious awards, including the Fellowship of the Punjab Academy of Science in 2011, the Materials Medalist Award from MRS India in the year 2012, the Professor S. Chandrasekhar Memorial Award 2017, and the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Indian Liquid Crystal Society 2018. Dr. Reina's work is extensively cited, and his innovative research and teaching methodologies have earned him a distinguished reputation nationally and internationally, making significant contributions to advancing material science and education. I welcome you, sir. Now, let me introduce our distinguished speakers of this session. The first speaker, Professor Sisa Thomas. Professor Sisa Thomas is the Vice Chancellor of Kerala University of Digital Sciences, Innovation and Technology. Previously, she served as the Vice Chancellor of APJ Abdul Kalam Technological University, Kerala. She has been a faculty member in Electronics and Communication Engineering at various government engineering colleges in Kerala since 1991. Over her career, she has held significant administrative roles, including Principal and Senior Joint Director at the Directorate of Technical Education, and was also appointed as Director of Technical Education in 2019. I welcome you, ma'am. The next speaker is Professor Arun Kumar Tangirala. He is a professor at IIT Tirupati. He holds a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering from IIT Madras and a PhD in process control and monitoring from the University of Alberta. His research focuses on traditional and advanced areas of systems engineering and data science. Professor Tangirala is the author of the widely recognized textbook, Principles of System Identification, Theory and Practice, and a co-author of the monograph, Active Control of Buckling in Structures. He is also the editor-in-chief of the Journal of the Institution of Engineers India, Series E, and serves as an associate editor of ASME journals on dynamic systems, measurement and control, as well as control engineering practice. I welcome you, sir. And the third speaker of this session is Professor Dayanand Aksar. He is serving as Gulbarga University as Vice Chancellor. He has also worked as Registrar and Director, Planning and Monitoring and Evaluation Board at the university. He has over 35 years of teaching and research experience. He has published 84 research papers in reputed journals and also published 1 patent in the field of microbial biotechnology and bioprocess engineering. He was the visiting professor at Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, Switzerland, and invited professor at the University of Finland. I also welcome, sir. I now invite the chairperson, Dr. Kuldeep Kumar Reina, to start the session.
Namaste, Vanakkam, and very good morning. A second day for this AIU Vice Chancellor's Conference South Zone in VIT itself is a wonderful experience. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Pathak, Dr. Mittal, President and the Secretary General of AIU for inviting me to be a part of this wonderful deliberation, and the friends from different parts of the southern parts of our country We have all assembled to have a wonderful discussion. I'm sure there are going to be many takeaways for each one of us. Before we start, we have to finish the session by 11:30. So we are at 11:15. So I have around 70 minutes with me. Accordingly, we will try to distribute our timings accordingly. I don't have a buzzer there to say, but I'm sure each one with the panel is aware of the time constraints. And I'm very pleased to be the chair in a session for which I have good friends, great friends who come from a diversity of specialization and teaching experience. Friends, the theme that is given to us is about assessments and its impact. I would like to compliment at the outset AIU for choosing this timely thing. India, a country of more than 1,200 universities, having more than 65,000 higher education institutions at the college level, and not to talk of the schools. I think our diversity from kindergarten to the higher education is so wide and so vast. Keeping one parameter for assessing a student is not that easy for any one of us because we have rural, urban, digital, divide in almost in each segment. So for that, our schools, our colleges, and our universities need to evolve a process and a system which fits the best. We, most of us here as the Vice Chancellors come from the teaching fraternity, have started maybe as lecturers, we became assistant professor, associate, and in those learning process and the modes, I think we also had the tough times how to evaluate the best. And there is no one template which says that this is the only best, because different students read different books. We assess and evaluate them as far as I know the knowledge. But when we use it to share the evaluated answer script to the students, they would say, sir, I read from this book and the answer is this. How are you going to assess and evaluate? So that is one assessment and evaluation process. Soon after the COVID came, I think we started shifting our assessment evaluation from pen and paper concept to go to the digital mode. And in digital devices, we have good facilitations, but at the same time, I think there were the constraints. Can we use these platforms for 3-hour examination, 2-hour examination, multiple choice questions, so on and so forth? And in the bulk systems where we have large students, assessing and evaluation becomes rather more complex. So the question is the digital tool, is the technology only the way to assess and evaluate the students' performances? I would say yes, at the same time, perhaps no as well. The discussion that we are going to have in this panel is looking at the expert opinion of each one of the panelists here, so that let us take a concrete decision and steps and recommend to AIU what we need to do. One, assessment evaluation teacher-student ratio also becomes very essential for evaluation of the institutions. Yesterday, we had very wonderful sessions. The tone was set forth by the Honorable Chancellor of VIT and thereafter by the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, and many discussions did happen. I think the platform is quite wide for us to consolidate, create a funnel out of it, and see what is best for tomorrow. Let me preserve my comment still. I listen my panelists, the distinguished academics, and thereafter we'll be in a position to sum up. Thank you very much. I'm sure you will have wonderful time to listen to each one of us. So to start with, we have among us as the distinguished panel, Professor Thomas, Vice Chancellor, Kerala State University of Digital Sciences. Professor Thomas, you may give your opinions about the session and the theme, continuous comprehensive assessment techniques, please.
Good morning to all the dignitaries on and off the dais. I would like to thank the organizers of AIU mainly Dr. Pankaj Mittal, and all the officials of AIU and VIT organizers for giving me this opportunity. This panel has a very safe topic, continuous comprehensive assessment, the different techniques. And there is no controversy in this topic at all. Very clearly, post-COVID, we have all felt the need of the continuous comprehensive assessment as such. So when you look at NEP 2020, we very well know that NEP 2020 aims for Indian education system to be more holistic, flexible, inclusive, accessible, and also multidisciplinary, whereby we foster the unique capabilities of every student. And CCA, the continuous comprehensive assessment, is of course a pivotal component of NEP 2020 as such. So the CCA is trying for a holistic student development. When we say holistic student development, it actually means the many facets of development, starting with the intellectual development, the emotional development, the creative, critical thinking, the analytical problem-solving abilities, the social as well as the personal ability to be in a society, and also, of course, the ethical, starting with the integrity, the empathy, the humility, and so on and so forth. So the main advantage of CCA as such is that it reduces the exam stress. That is because there is a shift from the high-stake summative assessment to the low-stake formative assessment as such, whereby what happens is that we have a competency-based personalized learning system. And if you look at each one of the parameters of continuous comprehensive assessment, very clearly it says that it runs throughout the academic year, the continuous. By comprehensive, what we mean is we have a all-round development taking into account both the scholastic as well as the co-scholastic aspects. And of course, the assessment as such need to have a very balanced approach. So the need of this continuous comprehensive assessment would have come mainly because of the disadvantages or the limitations of the traditional assessment system as such, which we all know that it had an emphasis on the rote learning, and there were lack in the continuous feedback, whereby we were getting we were trying to identify the learning gaps only towards the end of every term, whereby we were not getting an opportunity to make any corrective measure. And if you look at the assessment also, we see that it lacks the core scholastic areas, mainly because we neglect the holistic student development. And even though we all know that we had a topic called life skills more than a decade in the syllabus, we were not taking it seriously at all. And of course, we know that there is no personalized assessment as such, because even though the group is heterogeneous, the assessment is done in a very homogeneous manner. And yet another disadvantage is the limited integration of the modern tools and the technologies. And of course, the present generation often feel a lot of stress because of the high-stake examination system as such. But when you look at the present day assessment system, we all will say that we were doing the continuous comprehensive assessment for quite a long time, even though it is that we have the summative assessments happening, that is the end of term examination and also the standardized test. But we equally give focus on all the formative assessments. We conduct quizzes, we conduct oral tests, we conduct classroom assessments, continuous classroom assessments, mainly through assignments, projects, and so on and so forth. And we even conduct the co-scholastic activities because we conduct annual sports and physical educational is there, and annual sports events are being conducted. We have arts and cultural events also getting conducted. But then I will just include only the novel techniques. Even though I call it novel techniques, it may not be novel, but looking at my field, I thought of including just certain tools which everyone won't be familiar with, because it is just a topic, and there is other speakers will also have many points to make. So when I look at the techniques which I'm going to mention, those are really game changers as such, which enables personalized learning experience. And it actually emphasizes the learner-centric, outcome-based education, which promotes an active learning, encourage collaboration, and also enhance the knowledge retention as such. The first and foremost is the gamified assessment as such. We know that because everybody loves fun, and the students love fun more than anything else. And if even the assessments are done in a gamified manner, it will have, they will passionately take up and they'll be more productive in their efforts in the assessment as such. So typical examples which I can just mention are the interactive tools like Kahoot, the quizzes. Kahoot is a cloud-based platform, and quizzes you have. These are all interactive learning tools which allow the educators to create quizzes, surveys, and even discussions mainly in the form of games as such. Which make them passionate learners, as well as at the time of assessment also they passionately take part in it without any stress as such. The other way by which the gamified assessment can be done is through scenario-based simulations, which enable the problem solving as such. And the next technique is the AI-based, AI-powered analytics as such, where as a teacher, we know that we start with an assessment, which is an average question. And then depending on the response, we either increase the difficulty of the question or decrease the difficulty of the question. So, but even then, it will be a biased one when a human is doing it. But when a machine is doing it, and that too AI, it will be more unbiased as such. And we have tools like EdTech tools like Smart Sparrow, which enables the AI-powered analytics as such. And of course, the personalized performance dashboards, like the AI-driven online quizzes, also come under the AI-powered analytics as such. And yet another technique is the competency-based assessment, where we focus on the mastery of specific skills. As we all know that each and every student is different, and their competencies, even though they deal with the same subject, their competencies will be in different domains. So we can focus, with these tools, we can focus on the specific skills as such, and we can have rubrics or milestones based tracking. And one of the typical example is the Mastery Connect. All these tools I'm mentioning are mainly available free of cost. And at least the basic features are available free of cost. And some of the tools may have to be purchased also. And I was all the time talking about all the IT-based tools, but yet another technique that I am mentioning here is the scenario-based learning technique as such, where the students can be assessed depending on their reactions to real-world problems in certain hypothetical situations, where we look and we try to evaluate the critical thinking capability and applying the knowledge that they have acquired in the course. So a typical scenario is like you simulate a crisis management in the business setting as such. And yet another technique is the digital portfolio, where you have an online platform which allows the students to curate and showcase their work. And that totally reflects the growth in the multiple domains as such. And this same tool can be used by the parents to look at the performance of their wards, and it can be also looked at by the employers in order to identify the skills that they have, mainly to look at whether they retain specific learning as well as behavioral pattern, and whether their behavior is predictable as such. And the tools are mainly the Google sites you can use. You have a tool called CISO for all these portfolio creation, whereby the students get a clear understanding, a self-awareness about their strengths and their weakness, and where they need to put in more effort to improve their capabilities. And yet another tool is the learning analytics as such, which you take the data from the learning management system and understand the different engagement levels of the students, the time they spend on various tasks, the areas where they struggle and where they need to be given more additional material to learn the subject in depth. The typical examples, you have Moodle as a learning management system, and this Moodle has a Moodle analytics tool, and that'll give the that will give the details of whether the students are participating, and it will give alerts when there is a low participation from the side of the students. Other examples are the Microsoft Power BI. And also there are possibilities for collaborative assessments because we know that there are different tasks which require a teamwork, and always the evaluators, the examiners will find it difficult to look at the individual performance. So these tools will help us to give the individual performance and also the collaborative team performance as such. And the typical examples are the Microsoft Teams, Miro, the Google Workspace, when you work with shared folders like shared sheets and slides as such. And yet another very wonderful tool is the augmented reality and the virtual reality assessment pattern that is being done, where you get an immersive experience in the learning process, and the same can be used during the assessment also. Like in the medical field, when a surgery, when the evaluation of a surgery is to be conducted, it can be simulated in a virtual environment. VR can be used, virtual reality can be used to assess the student doing the surgery. Similarly, augmented reality can be used to evaluate an architect when a landscape is to be done. The other scenario, the present scenario, is going to be augmented with what he has in mind, with the landscaping that he has in mind as such. And the tools mainly used are Labster, PHET, not inclusive, like there are many tools available. And also there are opportunities for micro credentialing and badges, where the students come to know about like what scores they have, what are the badges that they earn. The same can be taken by the employers also, rather than going through a very detailed evaluation process. And micro-learning assessment also, where you focus on evaluations. When you have a micro lesson happening or a module being happening, you can embed along with it certain questions. So when you are running the video or when you are running a presentation, the students need to be attentive, because anytime a question may shoot up and their score totally depend on how they respond to these things. So mainly all these tools, the advantages are very clear. It's a personalized and student-centric evaluation. It has enhanced engagement through interactivity. Real-time feedback is possible, and there is a possibility of continuous improvement, focusing on the critical 21st century skills, and which makes it possible for collaboration, communication, creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, and all those things. And the implementation strategy is, of course, by faculty training, because these are new assessment tools and they need to be trained on this. And if it will be better if it is integrated along with the curriculum, because otherwise it will not happen. So it has to be embedded along with the teaching learning process as such. And the institution and the universities will have to see to it that the proper infrastructure is given, that you need to invest on the infrastructure as such. And the challenges are, of course, the resistance to change, which normally happens, and the training needs or the resource constraints or the standardization issues as such. And we can be confident that there are a lot many case studies which has shown the success of the comprehensive continuous comprehensive assessment. And the future direction is mainly in terms of the policy support, which AIU can do. And of course, there is, because it's an evolving process, you need to refine the assessment each and every time. And hence research and development need to be done in this area. And we need to practice sustainable practices as such. And the call for actions is both to the educators as well as to the universities to embrace the technology and to modernize the assessment and to get the benefit out of it and invest in the various tools and encourage innovation in the assessment process as such. And I conclude by saying that CCA is a very balanced approach which merges the tradition and innovation for a holistic student development, and it empowers the student to be socially, academically, and also emotionally ready for the future challenges. And that is expected to create a very dynamic and inclusive and a compelling assessment system as such. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Thomas, for wonderfully highlighting the needs, both for the society as well as the technical institutions as well. Thanks. Now I have with me Professor Arun Kumar. IIT evaluation assessment patterns are sometimes different. It is more localized or IIT-centric than the national-centric. And in that case, I request Professor Arun Kumar to give his expert opinion that what he thinks is the best for the nation. Thank you very much.
Good morning. As the slides come up on the screen, first of all, it's a great honor to be standing here and interacting with the people at the top positions, making high impact in the educational system of this country. Although I've been associated with the IIT system for more than 2 decades, so I've been with IIT Madras for about 20 years, and I recently moved to IIT Tirupati. And I want to say, although I've been associated with the IIT system, I also stand here in my capacity as the chief coordinator of a Ministry of Education project called Swayan Prabha. The former chief coordinator, you heard him yesterday, Professor Mangal Sundar, he's seated here. It was great working with him and learning a lot of things. And I've been in charge of it for the last 3 years, or 3+ years. And that has given me tremendous opportunity to study the landscape of education in the country, going outside the IIT system. And therefore, whatever I speak here is not necessarily for IITs, but for the country, for the society, and for the educators. Can we bring up the slides, please? This is going to take some time. All right. So again, as the slides come up, I'm not really, no, that's not the one. So what I would like to, yeah, please. Thank you. So what I would like to share is some key thoughts on not just how we go about doing the comprehensive assessment, but also take cognizance of the changes in the operating conditions of the educational system. And that's very, very important because it was partly highlighted clearly by Professor Thomas in her previous talk. And I'll zoom into that a bit more and also share a few thoughts, right? So before I dwell on the thoughts or my views, you may say, I would like to draw your attention to this overall system, the educational system, and the components that make up the system. Not because you're unaware of this, but to make an important point that as we make changes to one of these components, as you can see, there are 6 major components along with the assessment and evaluation. And you have the components of teaching, peer learning, libraries, technology, institution policies, and of course, self-learning. As we make changes to even one of those elements, we have to make synergistic changes in the other rooms. Just as we rearrange a few things in one of the rooms in our house, we will have to rearrange the other rooms as well. Then only we'll be able to reap the benefits of any changes that we bring about. So for example, if we are making changes to the assessment system, it's quite important that we also make changes to the way we teach and to the way the students learn. And it's not just about the usage of tools, but also the philosophy behind it, okay? So the message here is that we have to make synergistic changes. And one of the weakest areas that people have been, institutions have been working on is libraries. I may not have the time to talk more about that in depth today, but I do have a couple of slides towards the end. When the slides are shared, please feel free to go over them. I have some suggestions on how libraries should be totally revamped in order to take advantage of the modern tools. And the other aspect that NEP itself calls for, and also for other reasons, is self-learning. And I'll talk about that as we march along. Okay, so when we want, obviously everybody wants to achieve excellence in education, right from the learner to the teacher to the institution. And there are several factors at play. I'm not going to read out all this list. You're aware of this list. But the one that is relevant to the session is, of course, having a periodic or a regular assessment and giving that feedback. As you can see here, this schematic essentially captures what generally we are all aiming at: assessing and evaluating and taking that feedback to the student and of course to the teacher, and I would say even to the institute. So the major challenge and the major question that we need to address today is, are we measuring the right thing? That is very important. So we seem to be measuring a few things, but I think there are a few shortfalls that we should certainly address, and I'll bring that up in the next slide. And secondly, at what scale are we assessing? Are we scale? The general trend, traditional, has been to address at the class level. And there was a mention of that, a very nice point made in the earlier talk. We need to worry about personalized learning. That means we'll have to assess really at a student level very carefully. Therefore, I would say that in summary, there are about 3 shortfalls when it comes to the way we assess, right? One has got to do with what we are measuring. So let me just bring up all the points on the screen for you to read. We generally are interested in how students solve problems. In fact, I would say we should actually assess whether they understand the question. They distract or they deviate after that. Let's focus on the competence part. Competition anyway is there in the society. We don't have to add to the stress to the students. We'll just have to assess whether they are competent, which means that do not really give them very hard time-bound questions. See if you relax the time, are they able to answer? And if they're able to answer, then it's a matter of speeding up the things. We don't seem to be testing that either. Okay, so those are some of the points with regards to assessment, shortfalls in assessment, and some of the things, glaring things that we need to address. Now, I want to shift the attention to the changing operating conditions. That means the disruptions that have been happening in the education system. I have been researching in the field of data science and AI for more than 20 years now. And thanks to Swayam Prabha and my research, I've had the opportunity to see very closely the impact of AI on education. And I'm very closely associated with some of the projects as well. So from that, I can tell you that there are 2 things that we have to really focus on. One is that there has been a big shift in the scale of education. We have gone from classroom education to large-scale education. And the moment we do that, there are many challenges, and many of us know that. But what this also means is that we have to relook at the technology that we are using, the means that we're using for teaching, and the way we assess. And large-scale education inevitably means that we go digital, we go AI way, and so on, right? So this is one thing that we have to think about. The assessment techniques that we use in the classroom may not be valid for the assessment techniques that we use for online programs, hybrid programs, certification, and so on. And we had a sample experience of that during COVID. Okay. So I also say that now we are at what I call, this is my coinage, of open Intel era. What does it stand for? So you see two layers in the graphic that I show. The top graphic, the top layer, the bottom layer in the graphic is a traditional one. It's always there, and it will be there. Where there is a teacher, there is a learner, there is a society, and then there is educational policies. We have been, witnessing that, and will continue to. That will be the system. That will be the focus. The top layer is the one that has taken the world by storm. Not the educational world alone, but the entire other spheres as well. But as far as education is concerned, we have three new entities that have come up. The open educational resources, OERs, like NPTEL, like Swayamprabha content, or you can say MIT's courseware, and so on, Khan Academy, you name them. And then you have, of course, the technology-enhanced learning, where you have a number of edutech tools that have been invented and discovered, and so on. And then you have AI, which is a super dada of all of this, which is affecting everything. Now, the issue is that these three are impacting not just the teacher and the learner, but also the society and therefore the policies. And unless we take cognizance of that, we will not be able to come up with any major changes to the assessment system. And unfortunately, I might say, and I was having extensive discussions with a very senior colleague of mine yesterday, and we were of the opinion that unfortunately parenting has gone for a toss. So what I mean by saying this is, and this is because the family system itself has gone for a toss. We have gone from joint family 40 years ago to a small family, to a nuclear family, to an electronic family today, right? So what electronic family we know, it means that each of us is holding electronic devices and we coexist in the same room or in the same house. That's all. This has absolutely destroyed the ability to learn life skills in an organic way that we all learned in our family system. If we don't address that along with the assessment, which means that now we have to look at a holistic competence, not just educational, technical competence. If needed, we will have to tell the students that, boss, the problem is not with your knowledge, but with your attitude. We should be daring to do that. We are afraid to say that. I don't think we should be afraid. But we have to do this systematically. We will have to do this in a proper way by measuring a few things. In fact, I was just having a chat with one of the gentlemen there in the audience that we need to measure. We can give this data as to when they are sleeping, when they are getting up, because lifestyle has a huge impact on their learning. So that also has to be taken into cognizance. Okay, so let me just highlight maybe 5 minutes. Yeah, thank you. Unfortunately, what happens is when faculty are given the mic, you know what happens. We are not only determined, but we are over-determined, which means I have more slides than what I'm allowed to speak. Okay, so I just wanted to talk about the disruptions, mostly the negatives that we have to worry about, the induced negatives, if I may say. Positives we all understand of the open educational resource and AI and so on. So if I look at the induced negatives, one of the biggest problems that we are facing today from the school level to the higher education level is what I call as deferred learning. That means I sit in the class, I listen to the teacher, seemingly listen to the teacher, but I'm not listening because there is a more colorful YouTube video. There is a more entertaining channel which teaches me the same thing. So why do I have to listen? I listen later. I learn later. And we know what happens to that. That learning never happens. And that piles up. And with the lack of discipline, it induces problems. So what is the solution? One solution to that, flipped classroom models have been emerging as a good solution, but they have to be implemented carefully. In a flipped classroom model, what do? We share the content, textual content, video, audio upfront, and then we ask the students to watch it, Today, we don't have to worry so much about the digital divide. Yes, we have to be sensitive to that. But spend the time in the class interacting with the students, engage them in applications and classroom discussion and so on. The screen has decided that I should not be talking anymore, looks like. Anyway, so it doesn't matter. So spend time in the class interacting and assessing what they have learned every week. Because again, there can be a procrastination epidemic that can take over there. But this, we have to be very, very sensitive. If we cannot be prohibiting the students from not watching these videos. We have to be inclusive, and that's a key word. And when we move to AI, right? AI, of course, as was highlighted, there were many things that, So this graphic summarizes what AI can do for you in education. But the one that is most relevant to this session is personalized learning and knowledge enrichment. And there are many, many tools for that. And the point that I want to mention is, while there are many tools that are coming up, I would also urge the institutions to think of setting up an AI ecosystem where it is not just about assessment, but also it is setting up a learning platform that uses AI. For example, there are AI for schools, for example, which has a complete ecosystem. You can go and see AI for school is an open source one. You can set up a complete platform where you can have an AI-driven TA or a chatbot customized for that subject. And this particular chatbot can help students answer questions that are relevant. The teacher is in complete control. The teacher is also able to see what questions are being asked by the learner and gauge what stage the learner is at. So there are many things associated with it. I'll be happy to discuss offline. I talked about the flipped classroom models. I'm going to go past that. I just want to make 2 points and conclude. One, of course, is have a course in self-learning. We are assuming that students are really equipped in self-learning. So we need to bring about curriculum changes in self-learning if we are assessing them based on self-learning. There's no point in just aligning with 1 or 2 points of NEP. We'll have to really have as many tick marks as possible. Let us not assume that students are capable of self-learning by themselves. And the second thing is train teachers in using these modern tools, conduct training programs that are not again in the pravachan mode, not in the discourse mode. Teachers attend and few experts speak and go. No, the teachers have to be given a complete hands-on experience. They should be trained in that so that there is a huge difference between before and after training programs. Okay, so I'll just take 30 seconds and conclude. I mentioned earlier that we have to also look at the way we teach. And this is one slide that I want to leave you with. Based on a couple of decades or more than that of my teaching experience and so on, I thought we could come up with what is known as a 5-layered paradigm, and I call this as a Panchakosha of teaching learning paradigm, which takes the learner from the beginner, from the starting phase, all the way up to an enlightened teacher phase. And these are in 5 layers. Yeah, incidentally, they also sync with the 5 layers of Yoga Shastra, which talks about the Panchakoshas of a human body, human being. So the first layer I call is a survival layer, where the student learns basic skills, not more than that. Like a driver learns how to drive with the rules. That's it. The second layer I call is the life layer. That means where the student is trained in the concepts. So the driver opens the hood and sees how the car operates. What is the thermodynamics behind it? What are the different components of a vehicle? And the third layer is what I call as the application and innovation layer, where not every student can be in. So let us not expect every student to get the top grade. We should not be even thinking of that. So the driver learns now how to drive other kind of vehicles and fix problems in other kinds of vehicles based on the experience. So there are you should expect about 15 to 20% of students in that layer. And the first 3 layers are for the student. And therefore the teacher as well. The teacher is also a student. The remaining 2 layers are for the teacher, where the 4th layer is where you actually learn what you want to learn. As a student, we don't learn much. Everybody agrees that we learn when we teach. There is no doubt about that. Why? Because we are extremely responsible. There is a fear that is not there as much as in the student's life. So we spend about 15, 20 years there, and then you reach a stage where you are one with the subject, you are enlightened, and you are able to cut across domains, you are able to give perspectives, and you are able to give universal ideas and examples drawing from other, waters of other wells, not just in your domain. If as a teacher you're able to do that, that's it. I mean, you come out of the class and you feel blessed, you feel bliss. That's where we have to aim. But anyway, let's focus on the first three layers and ask how do we realign our teaching and assessments so that there is elements of each of this in our teaching and in our assessment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Arun Kumarji. Really, I think Pancha Kaushal, I'm sure it is going to bring Kaushal in SS Kaushal, my screen is slightly tilted, so I could like this. Pancha Kaushal, I think this is the mantra, I am sure. Sure, afterwards of that. It is going to bring Kaushal in our assessment and the evaluation. Kaushal, yeah. Now we have a friend, colleague, Professor Dayanand, and he brings rich experience as teacher, as academic administrator in different roles. Professor Dayanand, please.
Good morning to everybody. Honorable authorities of the VIT, AIU, esteemed chairperson of the session, respected co-speakers, very distinguished colleague vice chancellors, invitees, ladies and gentlemen. I wish to share two important experiences in light of the topic of my presentation. I don't have any slides. I thought of sharing my experience, one as a teacher and one as a vice chancellor, pertaining to the topic, which seems to be very sensitive and highly comprehensive from the point of the student's career. The main theme of the AIU National Conference is envisioning future higher education, the pivotal role of India. Let me compliment and congratulate AIU authorities. And my special compliments to Pankaj Mittal. Madam, it is your sincere, continuous, comprehensive efforts that you're making the India to lead globally in the field of higher education. Real congratulations to the AIU in general, and special compliments to Pankaj Mittal. I hope with this particular theme of the National Vice Chancellor Conference, India would lead in higher education across the globe. And with 5 different zonal conferences, the sub-theme of this South Zone Conference is rethinking assessment and evaluation. In that, the topic of my sharing is continuous comprehensive assessment techniques. I thought, let me share only 2 examples, illustrations, where I have been facing even today and faced as a teacher about a couple of decades back. And we understand that the method, the scenario of the practice that is being carried out by the teachers in this continuous comprehensive assessment, we have generally 2 common attributes, that is formative assessment and the summative assessment. Formative assessment, yesterday I was looking through some literature, some of the companies well known for the education development tools, the formative assessment, which is highly varied. We have 50-50, we have 20-80, we have 30-70, whatsoever it is. I do accept, I do agree that yes, it may vary with course to course, that is academic program to academic program, but ultimately, how to assess these grades and the marks while the formative assessment. One of the major challenges that I faced as a teacher, I'd be sharing with all my colleagues. Hope some of you might have been also experienced. When as a teacher about during 1990s, See, we used to give projects to the students, and it is not an individual project, it is a team project. 4 or 5 students used to carry a project, and then for 20 marks, we need to assess the project. Of course, project does have a small viva voce presentation too, but how to give the marks? Yes, out of 20, as a teacher, it is the compatibility of the students which is being realized by the teacher would give the marks. But that was being questioned by the students. I don't say it is wrong. It is their right to question. We have to evolve a technique, how to justify the marks given by the teacher to those 5 students. The project or the dissertation that is being submitted is everything same. Every letter is same. But marks are varying. The grades are varying. My dear colleagues, you may not agree. The students has written to the chancellor of my state questioning integrity of me as a teacher. It is 100% right. It's the right of the students. But we have to come out with a way out, how to justify the marks given by a teacher. I hope all of you will agree with me that it is the pivotal role of the teacher in assessing the students, in giving the grades or the marks. And as I said, if the formative assessment is for 50 marks, probably those 50 would decide the career of the students, file their appointments, or seeking the jobs anywhere else. But how to justify the marks given to them, what kind of a technique need to be followed, what kind of a strategy need to be followed. Traditional education, it's fine. Students used to believe in the honesty of the teachers, and teachers used to be highly integrated with the students' compatibility along the grades, other marks. When that was the question, yes, in the present scenario, we need to have a highly open, transparent, justifiable designing technique or the tool to assess the marks. And the second illustration, later I will come to the novel approach that what we can think of. The second approach, today morning I was talking to my colleague Vice Chancellor. A student was extremely good. Throughout the academic program of 4 years, out of 4 subjects, student secures almost 90+% in all the 4 subjects. And in the 5th subject, student could never pass in that particular subject. Yes, I don't say who is wrong and who is right, but there is a fact that is happening in the assessment strategies by the teacher. As I said, teacher really plays a pivotal role. How to overcome this kind of a challenge? As a Vice Chancellor, even the case that is being faced by me, particularly a professional course, I am coming from the university where majority of them are the rural students, majority of the colleges are in the rural areas, and all such colleges, there comes an approach. And their complaint or issue, I would like to say not the complaint, the issue is there is a lot of discrimination in giving the marks by the teachers in different colleges in the same academic program. A college gives 90% out of 100, and then in some colleges 50%, some colleges gives just 20%. The question is, the next further defending strategies by those colleges. No students in the colleges who comes regularly to the class, no facilities in the colleges to teach, no teachers to teach, but still the students who are enrolled are getting 100% result. I hope this is my experience I'm trying to share with you. It is a high time for us to think on the innovative tools and techniques that are coming in the way for us to use them and then be very transparent and honest in grading or awarding the marks to the students. The technology-driven devices need to be developed where this discrimination can be taken care or can be addressed. Me being from the biology, particularly from the microbiology, my focus topic of the research was something like biosensor. It reminds me the words that were discussed by His Excellency, the Chancellor, yesterday morning about synthetic biology. Synthetic biology. So we have two speakers, one from the digital technology, another from the IIT, me being from the rural background and with the biological factors. So idea what I'm thinking is, we do have several sensors which have been developed using electronic tools and devices, what we call them as the biosensors. Sugar level of the human being can be detected. So all such biocomponents can be detected using the electronic device chips, whatever it is being called, what we try to call it as biochips. Can we think of designing such an electronic devised developed chip which can be inserted on the surface of the skin of both students and the teacher? We don't have to do anything. Automatically it will take care. Today it may feel that it is impossible. It may be a foolishness approach. But dear friends, let me share with you a topic of collaboration, what we have from the Department of Microbiology with the University of Bradford, UK. We have developed a small chip, a polycarbonate chip, if it can be placed on the skin of the individuals, which detects the kind of the organisms inside, kind of the biocomponents inside, and what kind of the disorders that are being developed in that particular individual. Time has come with artificial intelligence, where can't we think of developing or designing the biochips which can be placed? Because though we say that it is the pivotal role of only teacher, let us not forget that the role of the student is also equally important. And the competency of the student in real sense can be assessed in addition to in parallel to the marks or the grades that are being awarded by the teacher to the student. Time has come to think on that line. Hope the leading digital technology institutions, the electronic-based technological institutes like IITs, whatsoever it is, definitely we can come up with such a novel tool which can be used to compare the competencies that are being given or awarded, the marks or the grades that are being given or awarded by the teacher to the particular student. With these few words, let me thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Professor Dayanand. Wonderfully, as a teacher, as a researcher, as well as in academic administration, what we face is this. We will open the session for questions, and thereafter, we can have some more deliberations. Professor Pathak, you have a question.
I am Vana Pathak. I am the president of this association. Wonderful talk by ma'am, Professor Arun Kumar. And I wanted to just understand that what Professor Arun Kumar has depicted with his Generation Next library and Generation Next AI. As all of us know, I have worked with Professor Mangal Sundaram also. We are working with SWAM too also. The kind of universities we have in the whole of the country with kind of teachers from first class to third class and all those things. So this AI, we really want to do from AIU some projects. If all of you can help, especially Professor Arun Kumar and Thomas Mann, so we can take different kind of universities, one affiliating in nature, one university, and really deploy these tools and see that what efficacy we are talking in theory. Because I remember when we started with NPTEL with engineering colleges, then it was studied. I was studying at IIT Kharagpur, then we did something at IIT Kanpur also. But the kind of thing which it has to go down trickle to the last person who's studying was not in the first version of NPTEL. Slowly it got, but so this AI personalized training is good. I mean, like it's has a promise, not good or bad. But we really want to suggest, because in AIU we are deliberating, and we have got this year the presidency of associations from China. So this year I think we have made AI as one of the paper, but we really want to deploy in a project mode. And actually in last 2-3 months, with the AIU, we have done a collaboration with T-Hub for doing innovation. But we also want from AIU that the universities should take this program, because there are universities in the world like Duke and all those things, which has really gone for AI for all. So they are running a course AI for all. So I think the country also needs, we started something at CSJMU, but it's not picking up. So can you take some projects like Madam also told, and so that we can work on a national level and really show the country, so look, these are 5 or 6 models which were successful for us. So it is in arts, it is in social science, it is in engineering, it is there. We have transformed the library, new generation library should be there. So it needs a big kind of a project, and we are ready to fund from the universities. Maybe some private universities can come and some government universities can come, and we can take in a funding mode. So Professor Mangal Sundram is there, you are also there, and you are from Tirupati. Tirupati is an auspicious place also. So why not to give a project which is AI for all universities? So can we conceive this thing? That is what is thing, a practical kind of a thing in a 1 year, we can really transform it. That's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah, so can I respond? Yeah.
Professor Arun Kumar, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. I think it's a very great point and perhaps is a need of the hour. And I absolutely agree that we will have to do this on a piloting mode and at a lower scale so that we get the experience. Right now, we have the vision, but we need to get the experience to really understand the Indian, how to set this in the Indian context and customize it for that university. A solution that works for one university may not work for another university, but I would say at least we'll develop a template which then can be customized. And this is best done through implementation. And in such an implementation, I would see at least 4 elements or 4 components. One, of course, is the mechanism, that is the objective of what we want to try out. But more importantly, training the teachers and the learners to understand how to use this. So if we are using some tool, could be AI for school or any other tool that's evolving, which is changing by the week, then we'll have to give training. We'll have to freeze certain things. We'll have to give training, make them understand, very importantly, the ethics and the responsibilities, because that's a major, I don't know if you're aware of the AI mission, that India AI mission, which the government has set out. And there are 7 pillars of the AI mission that India has set out, of which one is trustworthy AI. And that involves everything, responsible AI and so on. So we'll have to give, apart from the technical training, we'll have to train both teachers and students in the ethics of using AI, be it for creating presentations, be it for personalized learning, whatever it is, that becomes an integral component. And third, of course, is assessing the infrastructural changes that have to be brought about, not just in setting up a center or a building, but also to the other components, like I mentioned. Libraries have to step in, right? And some policies have to be made, probably have to be redone so that this infrastructure can be set up and so on. So one has to look at those aspects as well. But we are absolutely open to this idea. We will be happy to engage with universities in a project mode. And there is a newly established Office of Competency Development and Outreach at IIT Tirupati. I just took charge a couple of days ago. So you can feel free to contact us. We'll be very happy to do that. Absolutely, absolutely. You can write a letter to the director with their... Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, so you can write it to us. I work in my capacity as a dean there, so you can write to us and director, and we'll discuss and we'll get back. We'll be very happy to help.
Yeah, just a comment, Professor Pathak. You see, when we look at the multidisciplinary approach, you see what NEP speaks about and what we do. Slightly, we are not in alignment. I tell you very, very honestly. Starting as a teacher, starting as an administrator for the last 12 years, I have been looking at a different prism. But what we did and what we see is very different. I quoted 2 examples. One, the mode of evaluation that we had in the country, a student didn't pass in my paper. I asked him, work hard, work hard. When he appeared for the examination again, after 2 years, for the same subject, he wrote question number 1 to 8 many times till the last page. It's a fact. It's a fact. So I was so happy, and I told, we had a roundtable evaluation. I told my friend, look, this man has really worked hard. My mentoring has helped. So I started reading from the line 1. It was question number 1. Next line, question number 2. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 1, repeated many times. I asked this person, what did you say? He said, "Sir, I didn't know anything, but I was told teachers don't read the answer. They see how much you have written in the answer book." This is a fact, 1988. Another one, he topped IAS. 1994, he was my student, 1994 IAS topper. I taught him 4 courses. I never saw him noting in the class, but last 5 minutes, he will put the bullets. I told him, Ashutosh, everyone is writing and you are writing at the end. He said, sir, I write what I get the filtered out of it. Fine. And another one example of my own, while looking at the transparency of assessment and the evaluation, there was he's also very senior IAS officer. He was the chief secretary of his state. I told him, he got ill, sick in the laboratory examination. So he requested. I had completed evaluation for all students, not for him. But for him, I invited 5 more students to be a part of that. Because if I had to do the relative assessment, it is not one, it is a group of people. Today, our assessment evaluation needs a thought-provoking discussion and deliberations. And when we look at the multidisciplinary, what is true in evaluation for health sciences, Dr. Sudhir is here. It is totally different than we assess the engineering. We assess the legal science, we list social sciences. I think if AIU can take a project lab, it will help the nation. I think you may choose the people who can give you the valuable inputs. Professor Thomas wants to add what Dr. Arun Kumar said. Professor.
Yes, I mean, Professor Arun Kumar sir has already given the commitment, but I just wanted to add the point that I come from a university, the Digital University, which is a young university. It started at the time of COVID, mainly with the idea that the digital transformation was happening in the nation, and it was to support the digital transformation as such. So we take up, we survive with the research grants from the central government and also the consultancy from various government agencies, both in the state as well as all over the state. We take up projects from DRDO, ISRO, and so we'll be very happy to be associated with any effort, and we are confident that we'll be able to do it.
Shall you go for the next
On
question?
behalf of the president, I can say, you may be getting very good projects, big projects from them, from money point of view. You may not get that much. It is a service to the society, service to the education, service to the institutions.
We'll continue the next question.
Any question, please?
Yeah, here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate all the presenters who went on mentioning about the assessment and evaluation. My view here, just I would like to put across, while we are working very seriously on AI and AI related activities. Now, is India ready for that is one question. Definitely, when it comes to the education, we still are in a changeover mode. So while that changeover mode is going on, many of us talk about India knowledge system of a previous year, where skills were tested for a particular task. The present day, it is both the skills as well as the knowledge in the form of theory. So in that case, I felt that even the presenters went across the writing skills, the reading skills, and the knowledge. All three would be very important and very well touched, but all said and done, written document either in digital form. So that is a change, or digital form or the non-digital is a requirement where, because many teachers I recently met in the rural part of this thing where they say the children are not at all ready to write anything. They are negligent. Now, how much important is for a child or even the graduate students to write on paper? So there, some of the skill sets have to be brought in, how the children will start to practice writing. So this, of course, we can always do it. And the second part, on a humorous note, yeah, AI is becoming very popular in India. In India itself, we have IAI, India Artificial Intelligence. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Professor Arun Kumar.
Yeah, just on that, adding to that humor, we have AI and data. And I would say in Marathi, AI is AI and data is data. So these have become the father and mother and father for many sectors. But going back to the more serious ones, I absolutely agree that writing skills and reading skills are important. In fact, I think none of us obviously had the time to zoom into what needs to be measured. That does vary across the disciplines and objectives and so on. But fundamentally, yes, reading and writing skills are extremely important. Adopting AI does not mean that people should stop reading and writing. That doesn't mean at all. It is just that, in fact, they are going to assist people in reading and writing. For example, I can use AI tools to see if the person has actually read the content properly, reading comprehension. And I can also use the tool to enhance the writing skills, including the grammar, the sentence construction, and so on. So these should be perceived as tools and not substitutes for learners. That's very, very important. In fact, we teach a course on introduction to research, and I lead that. And in fact, we give them in class a paper to read and ask them to summarize what they have understood after giving them about 30 to 45 minutes. And then we train them again in how to read a paper and then how to write your summary and so on. But this is done, of course, with the help of AI tools and so on. And just to respond to that first question that you asked, are we ready for AI? I don't think we asked this question, are we ready for the mobile technology or for the automobile technology? We adopted them, and then, of course, the human tendency is to first abuse it and then use it properly. So here also the same thing will happen, but the only difference between a mobile technology or a computer technology and AI is that AI is actually capable of taking your data and sharing it with others. So that's where a caution has to be exercised, and that's why we need to have safety and security of using any of these tools. That readiness should be there, but apart from that, I think we continue to evolve. The technology evolves, our equation with that keeps changing.
Thank you. Sir, yeah, one more question. I will come to you.
Mangal Sundar from IIT Madras. There are questions for one of you and comments for the other two. Is it okay? First is Professor Dayanand. I think your miseries with the students I will share with you. I have many of them, and many of us also have some things like that. If I recall, in one question that I gave to a class on a particle in the box model in quantum mechanics, the student wrote the entire lesson I had taught him. And then when I asked him what is the answer to the question I asked, this is what you taught, and therefore the answer is, I'm sure it's within this, I have reproduced everything. You find the answers. Okay. That's an example. The students sometimes have not focus, not willingness to read and so on, but that's one component. The other complementary on the students is another class that I conducted. In the final examination, I asked every student to give 10 multiple choice questions on the subject that they studied, for which the questions have not been asked by me already in that course. They have to identify those questions which were not taught. You'd be surprised, out of the 50 students who wrote the exam, 25 of them gave me 250 questions, which I could use for the next 5 years. They were good. So the component of student learning and student understanding through continuous assessment is changing time-wise. You have mentioned that the AI is another very, very important component. Madam Cesar, I think I remember meeting you earlier in the technical education when you were with Professor Kucheri and Isaac at the time. Is it possible for Digital University to collaborate with the AIU and the DTH Swayamprabha? So he holds one of the largest platforms in the country as the chief coordinator. It's possible for us to create a few workshop models, even funding by the Swayamprabha, and these workshops can be propagated through the DTS Swayamprabha for all the institutions to adopt. And specific tools that you mentioned, which are open source tools, is it possible for you to come up with a team and identify AIU can identify Professor Vice Chancellors whose faculties are willing to do that? That might be one way of doing it. My request is please consider that. And Arun, of course, we work together in many ways. So my suggestion is this can be taken up as a project. Please think about it as a project under Swayamprabha for all the institutions to participate in this changing domain. These are just my comments. Okay, thank you.
As Professor Dayanand proposed about this biochip, as Arun Kumar is in engineering field, is it really possible? Because sometimes I am from medical background. When we assess the students, say 250 students, and asking question after some time, you don't get a suitable question to ask because human mind is like that. As it happens even in my case when I was an undergraduate student, and at 7 p.m. that examiner told that I am tired, I will ask only one question. If you answer, you will pass. And if you don't answer, so you will fail. And fortunately, it was asked rest cycle like that. How my mitochondria energy and etc. So I passed. So if biochip is available, so we can put it in the skin of the student, and that will assess the skill and knowledge of the students. So there will be at least there will be no bias from the teachers giving marks. So is it possible?
Sir, according to me, it's quite possible. I hope you will agree with me that India has had a great history. Any discoveries made by the scientist, the whole society said that scientist was a fool. You just remember the history of any discoveries. Anything that is new, definitely it was being questioned by the community of the society. And the biochips, they're taking lead everywhere. Now, what are there in practice? As a medical field, you will agree with me that biosensors are operating. Majority of the disorders or infections that are being there in the patients are being detected based on the biochips. Now, it is only the how intellectual compatibility can be sensed. AI comes in the real way, how it can be designed and developed. It is quite possible. Take it from me, even if it's a very foolish idea today, in the days to come very shortly, biochips will play a dominant role in the assessment of everything. I'm quite confident.
Not only in the assessment of the question papers, but in many other things too. Bio is the next generation chip going to come. Yes,
Sir, can I quickly respond? Just add to that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Just very quick thing. I just asked ChatGPT your question. Okay. And it says yes. Okay. But apart from that, technically it is possible, but I think the larger question is ethically, is it acceptable? And that has to be addressed because the moment you're collecting data, the data security is of utmost importance. This data can be misused in many, many different ways. And I think the larger impediment will be the ethics to that rather than the technical barrier. So that's the only thing I wanted to point out.
Absolutely, absolutely, Professor. And another thing, a caution. Most of our institutions, your ERP systems for many things, we think it is the best way. What the data security? I think that's the biggest challenge each one of us is facing today. Yes, sir, please.
I am Panjanathan, Vice Chancellor, Gandhigram University. We all appreciate the excellent presentation. This is only in the lighter sense, as he rightly said, including grammar AI should take care. I could read in the internet the translation of leave letter that a boy has translated through AI that tomorrow I am going to my village to sell my land along with my wife. Please give me 1 day leave. So this is how it has been from Tamil to English, AI has translated. The another letter we could read, it is there in the internet. Sir, my wife is sick. I am only one husband at home. Please give me 1 day. So actually, he's a good person, but the way AI has translated, as you all rightly spoke, plus the grammar, plus wisdom, plus intellectual property should be attached. Excellent session. We all congratulate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. We will stop the questions. Just I
wanted
think
to.
we have to make use of the human intelligence,
Absolutely.
natural intelligence, and probably that is going to support system for your AI. Professor
Yeah,
Arun,
yeah,
last
just
one.
wanted to add to that. A lot of students now use ChatGPT to write emails, right, which are very long. And the first line starts with, hope you're doing well. That means the student has not written by himself, because no student is worrying about the wellness of the teacher. It should be, hope you are in the well. But anyway, so what, jokes aside, what I do is I tell the student, this is a great email. Now, can you show some originality? I would like to see mistakes in your email. Okay. And in my mind, my conscience tells me, finally, you got it on your head. Earlier, you used to take pride in pointing out mistakes and you used to correct them. Now you're looking for emails with mistakes, right? So it's a humbling experience for us as well. But I think, yeah, we will have to correct, while we correct the technology, we'll also have to sensitize the students where to stop using it and when they should exhibit their originality.
Sir, may I ask the last question, sir?
So before that,
Last-
I have just one statement to be made. Let's not forget, artificial intelligence is being created or established by natural intelligence. Let's not forget natural intelligence. Artificial intelligence can never take over the natural intelligence. We'll have to wait for the days. We'll have to wait for the future.
Sir, one
last
question. This is the last question. We will have
Last-
session at the T.
I'm just addressing Professor Sisa Thomas. I'm Christy from Preston University, Tanjavur. Madam, you were telling about Kahoot, Mastery, Smart Sparrow. So have you developed software in some specific instances using this open source software? And you being a digital university, would you be kind enough to develop projects and share with the AIU member universities so that we all can be benefited? Because these days, this is being commercialized. You go to a commercial person, he sells it to the universities for lakhs and crores of rupees. So kindly develop software in the few months, in the future, we would like to get from Kerala Digital University for all the 1,100 member universities, free softwares supplied by you. Thank you, madam.
Even though a risk, I take that commitment, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
And I should say that central government has a learning management software, Samrit, which is used by many of the universities. And now we are taking the effort to customize it, because one university specifically came and said, like, it is veterinary university. They have different sort of courses, some online and some offline. So they wanted some very specific things which are not there in Samrit. So I said, like, no, why not? Rather than starting from the very scratch, if something is well established, why not we customize it and give it to you? And that effort we are taking. So similarly, we can do it with every tool that is available, free of cost, and customize it and fix it for the specific requirements that you have. We are ready to do.
We look forward to resuming,
Yes,
madam.
yes.
Thank you.
1.5 hours is not sufficient for having question answers. We
Sir.
are breaking for the tea.
Sir,
and
sir,
we'll join.
I just last question. Yeah. My name is Rajshekhar. I'm Vice Chancellor of Base University, Bangalore. Great presentations. Thank you very much. I just wanted to find out whether there are any critical studies on what CCA techniques have worked and what have not worked, so that we can move towards implementing some of the techniques that you have been suggesting. That's number one. If there are no critical studies, whether we can request AIU to initiate some kind of randomized control trial with and without, so that we will learn how exactly we should proceed with regard to this very innovative, novel techniques. This one.
Sir, I think we need to have a comprehensive discussion and deliberation on it. To the best of my knowledge, there is not a single algorithm which is going to solve all problems, because it's such a diverse thing. I think the initiatives that Professor Pathak and Professor Mittal was talking about, it is going to give us. These are data. We don't know how to mine it and get the best over out of that. I think there is going to be discussion, deliberation at the national level too. We will evolve a comprehensive proposal. I thank all panelists and AIU for giving this opportunity to us. You liked it. I appreciate gratitude. And my one question is, can we have all examinations for 3 hours? Is 3 hours something? When we look at the continuous assessment evaluation, I think we should erase this 3-hour concept for an examination. Let us change that. Thank you very much.
So
Thank you very much, friends. Thank you, Professor.
for the
Thank
very
you, Professor.
informative session.
Namaskar.
On behalf of organizing team, may I request our President of AIU to give away the mementos to the speakers, please.
Perfect. We try to do justice to a larger extent. I extended by 15 minutes because you gave us 15 minutes late. I tried to compensate that.
Thank you, ma'am. You're looking for new products and projects.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. We'll break for a tea.
Yeah, just one chair, you know, it's. You can get one chair.
Yes, sir. We would like to request Vice President Sir Dr. Rajshekhar Pillai sir to come on the dais.
So good afternoon to all of you. So honorable fellows, colleagues, and the vice chancellors and the honorable members of this association from South Zone, we really were happy to see so many vice chancellors coming and deliberating on this kind of conference. This is a business session which is chaired by me, and we have got our honorable Vice President Professor Pillai and Secretary General Pankaj Ma'am. AIU in the last some time, we are trying to transform AIU for Generation Next Association. We are trying to increase the memberships. We are trying to align it with the NEP. We are trying to align with the new government policies of innovations, incubations, skill, and we have done a lot of activities in that direction, especially in internationalization, especially in innovations. So, we want your honest feedback. We have also circulated the feedback form. I will request all the honorable members to have a feedback. Recently, in a general body meeting, we deliberated a lot, and we actually are going ahead because the NEPS said by 2035, we will not have any colleges, we will have all universities. So including as an associate membership without voting rights, we are considering, actually we have taken a decision in general body to give them the associate memberships. Earlier, it was only given to the foreign universities without voting rights. So the vice chancellors will remain and the university will remain the member. But we are thinking to give in the first phase to associate members to this, and also trying to get industry on the board so that we can have some industry partnerships and the standalone institutions. So friends, we request that I will request first the Secretary General to apprise you with what activities we have done, where we are trying to move with the AIU. Then this session is more of an interactive kind of a thing. We have sent the feedback, and then all of you can give us more ideas to make AIU more efficacy kind of a thing. Recently on the Vice Chancellor's group, we have seen where people are interested to deliberate on this UGC draft regulations. So what are your ideas? We will be soon hosting, because we are a body and we think that Association of Indian Universities is a body who should tell the views of the Vice Chancellors to the government in any way. So we can hold a special conference of Vice Chancellors on the draft regulations. That is what we are thinking. We have sent, I think, for the comments to all the Vice Chancellors. That's what Madam has done. So I will request the Secretary General to do in brief so that we can have this session larger to your things to put the AIU on the generation next kind of an AIU. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. The Honorable President of AIU, Professor Vinay Pathak, sir. The Honorable Vice President of AIU, Professor Ashikran Pillai, sir, and all the esteemed Vice Chancellors. This AIU business session we generally hold to apprise you what we have done for the last 1 year. Initially, we give a small review of AIU, then what we have done in the last 1 year, and then we seek your suggestions for further improving our work, because we want to continuously keep on working for the university sector, for our members, and as the President is saying, we further want to improve and increase our reach and be more and more beneficial to you. Therefore, this business session is there. So I will give a short presentation on what we are. As you all know that AIU came into existence in 1925. Now we are celebrating the 100 years in 2025. And this was earlier known as Inter-University Board. And then it was named as Association of Indian Universities in 1967. So these are the stalwarts who have been the presidents of AIU in the past, certainly Dr. Radhakrishnan, Dr. Shyam Prasad Mukherjee, Dr. Zakir Hussain, Dr. A.L. Mudalia, Dr. K.R. Srimali, Dr. Hansa Mehta, and many, many more. So AIU holds a very, very big and great legacy behind it. This is the present membership. So we are the largest university association in the world now. So our membership base is 1,061, which comprises of all types of universities, whether it is central, state, deemed, private, IITs, NITs, ISERs, and we have 19 associate members, which are the international universities who are our members. And here only the President was talking about to have more associate members, not only in the form of foreign universities, but also in form of autonomous colleges who are in any way academically, financially, administratively independent and have autonomy, but the degree is awarded by the affiliating university, but the exams are conducted by the colleges themselves. So that we will discuss after this presentation. These are the functions and activities of AIU. Like we work like a think tank on higher education. We are a bridge between the government and the universities, and that is again the new regulations which have recently come up by the UGC. We have sent a letter to all of you that if you want any comments, so individually, of course, you can give the comments to UGC, but individually and collective, there's a lot of difference. So we want to collectively voice your concern, if there is one, on the UGC regulations and what you want to be there. So once we get the reply from most of the VCs, then we'll hold an online meeting, and then we will threadbare discuss on what changes we require in the regulations. And we are involved in a lot of work like capacity building of teachers, research, publications, cultural activities, sports promotion. And we are also mandated by the Government of India to do the equivalence of foreign degrees with the Indian degrees. So coming one by one, youth festivals we do at the international, national, and Asian level. We do adventure camps, literary events, moot court competition, women youth parliaments. And recently, we are also now performing, like our universities are performing abroad too. For example, one delegation, Banasthali Vidyapeeth, sent to Egypt to perform, and they were very happy to see the Indian culture. And two delegations, one from Rani Durgavati University, Jabalpur, and one from Parul University. They both went to China recently to showcase their culture, and each university gave something like 7 to 8 performances in these platforms. So your students also have a chance to perform in foreign countries. These are some of the photographs of the youth festivals, very rich festivals. In sports, again, we are holding 128 events every year. We have held 4 Khelo India Games so far. Recently, in the World University Games, we saw that our universities won 26 medals and India was at 7 number in the tally. And the fact was also mentioned by Honorable Prime Minister of India in the House of in the Parliament, and then he also mentioned in the Man Ki Baat. He also tweeted and he personally spoke to the players so that they can be encouraged. And then recently, this is again for the first time we have done that we held the World Shooting Championship. So far, we have been going and attending the events, but for the first time, World Shooting Championship was held by AIU at Manav Rachna University, where the participants from all over the world, they came and participated. So this was done for the first time. And then we also held a match between Indian universities and Australian universities in D.Y. Patil University. So again, that was something which was really liked by the students, both Indian as well as foreign. These are some of the sports activities which you can see here. Equivalence of foreign degrees with the Indian degrees, this mandate has been given to us by the Government of India. So we are also doing the equivalence of PG diploma to PG diploma to the MBA and the fellow program to the PhD degree program, and the foreign boards we are already doing. We have also made an AIU portal, and now most of the functions of AIU are computerized. So you can apply online for most of the programs of AIU. And I am sure that all of you must be having a login ID and password for logging into the AIU portal. If any of you doesn't have it, please let us know. We will give it to you right here. And second thing, my appeal to all of you is, for some of you, the subscription money for AIU is pending. So my earnest request to all of you will be, please pay the money, because we are surviving because of you. So if you don't pay the earnest subscription money, we find it difficult to take it forward. And then the type of new areas where we are venturing in, we do need money. So please pay your subscription money in time. And there are some pendencies of the past, please clear it off. This is a new work which we have done, that is the establishment of INHI, that is Indian Network for Internationalization of Higher Education. Here we are trying to help all the universities to promote internationalization on their campuses. So do become a member of INHI. Membership is open for universities, teachers, vice chancellors, everybody, means institutional as well as individual membership is there. You can become a member and then take advantage of internationalization. So if you want to internationalize but don't know how to do it, whom to approach, how to approach, in which areas you can internationalize, we are there to help you. So this is the INHI portal. These are the zonal meetings of the AIU for the year 24-25. This is the AIU centenary and annual general body meeting, which will be held in April. The theme will be envisioning future higher education, the pivotal role of India. These are some of the new initiatives. INHI, I have already told you. We are also having MOUs with international organizations. We are also taking international delegations. In the last year, we took a delegation to Spain and Taiwan. Now, again, in 2025, we are taking delegations to USA and UK. So any one of you who wants to join these delegations, we have already sent letters to you. You can come. And then there is one higher education summit. We already held one in Nepal and Vietnam. And this one is in Sri Lanka on 28th and 29th of January. Any of you who wants to participate, please do come in. This is a very good forum for showcasing your university to the foreign students and to have partnerships between the Sri Lankan universities. These are some of the MOUs which have been signed by AIU with the different agencies. Most of them are the association of universities abroad, for example, Association of Canadian Universities, Australian Universities, Spanish Universities, Vietnamese Universities, Arab Universities, African Universities. With all, we have the MOUs. In new initiative, we have also opened 43 AADCs, Academic and Administrative Development Centers, in 43 universities, which run every year 5 programs to train the teachers on how to use technology for teaching, learning, research, and governance. So these are very important centers. The assessment and evaluation, which we were talking about today, they are digitized using this platform AADC. AIU handbook has been published, which you all must have received. AIU history of 100 years is being published. The writing work is complete. It is being published, and it will again be shared with all of you after it is released in the annual program. AIU library has been digitized. AIU stamp, we are releasing on 100 years. We have got the approval from the Government of India to release a stamp on completion of 100 years. AIU building has been renovated. Now we have very good guest house and very good conference facilities. So if you want to hold any meetings in AIU in Delhi, do come in. We will be happy to serve you. We are also starting the AIU Centenary Lecture Series. Second lecture was delivered yesterday. We are also making a AIU coffee table book. So if you want your logo in the AIU coffee table book, which will be distributed all over the country and even abroad, do come in and become a partner of AIU in the centenary celebrations. AIU film also, we are making there also there will be a provision of partner institutions in the form of their logos. These are some of the research publications. I'm sure you must have received all these publications. These are some publications. So thank you very much. Now we'll have detailed deliberations on what we should be doing further. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Secretary General Madam, to have elaborations kind of a thing. We do have partnership, kind of an open Alok is there. So he can help you and tell you, ma'am has tell about the logo. We have got a film. So you can partner and showcase your university. A lot of universities like Galgoti, and they have become our partners. So we are showcasing in all the conferences. I will request for 1 minute to the Honorable Vice President to tell, and then we'll start discussion among the members.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Of course, Dr. Pankaj Mittal has explained the activities of the AIU. We continue the tradition, and at the same time, we infuse the current trends and contemporary trends in higher education. It is, of course, as she rightly mentioned, as the president endorsed, this is some sort of a club of over 1,060 vice chancellors who are the leaders of higher education in this country. And now more and more universities are going to come up. Even the role of universities, there is a paradigm shift, and naturally the leadership of the universities also need to be taking into account this paradigm shift in higher education. We hear a lot of new changes suggested by the central government and the state governments in the running of higher education institutions, particularly universities. There are, of course, different considerations when it comes to national institutions like coming under the Department of Science and Technology, higher education institutions, which are university level institutions, but the conventional affiliating universities and central universities. Even then, there is a lot of difference. And of course, if you just look at universities all over the world, there are only universities. There is nothing like different deemed to be universities and all that. Of course, this change in policies and also the conflict between the central government and state governments. This is really affecting higher education. That's also true. For example, the Karnataka was the first state. I was also in the implementation of the national education policy. Karnataka was the first state in the country, and Dr. Kasturi Rangan, being the higher education or science and technology innovation chief of the state, he could implement the national education policy in the state of Karnataka. Within no time, he could, start implementing it. But we have seen that a change in government, of course, change in government, these are all natural things. A change in government really affected the implementation of the national education policy. I'm not saying 100% positive things about the national education policy, but policies need to be policies, and higher education and the fate of universities, the fate of the students, fate of the programs cannot be compromised just by these momentary changes in the governance of the state. That is a hard fact, but of course we have to think about it. This is one thing. For example, when it comes to national education policy, we thought it is a policy only, but when it now there are some 13, 15 elements identified from the national education policy, whether the universities are implementing it, and if the universities are implementing it, they will get some sort of a grade or something like that. I did not read it fully. Some sort of a grade, and if you do not get that particular grade, your overall grade will be not the NAC grade. This is in addition to NAC, this thing. So we have to have a really cross look at many of these things. We have to be open. So you can also see that institutions, higher education institutions coming under the other departments, they do not have such restrictions, quote unquote, such restrictions. They do it differently, and all these policies are definitely there. Have to be remain and policies, but ultimately the implementation has to happen within the university, starting from the teacher in the staff room to the board of studies to the faculty and to the academic council. That is the freedom. For example, these bodies, these are statutory bodies. Nobody can deny their statutory existence, and therefore that of course that implies complete freedom for the universities. We have also seen cases which are cases in the court, cases of conflict when it comes to interpretation of the statutes and all that, and therefore we have to think that ultimately the universities are autonomous, and the independent initiatives of the universities need to be promoted, and we have to have singular and collective voices just to protect the autonomy, the academic autonomy and academic, functional and administrative autonomy of the universities. I don't want to make the speech, but these things have been said in one way or other in all the forums. But of course, we have to. We know that we have to say it different times. We have to say it continuously, and we have to do it. Thank you very much. I stop it.
Thank you, sir. And I think let us open this platform for all of you for the suggestions. My request is to the suggestions on increasing the membership, including the industry or any other kind of suggestions which will bring Generation Next AIU. Welcome from the members. Please, can you just give us Shivam and Vijay? Please take feedbacks from everybody and just you can. Yes, please, sir. Sir, please give it the mic. Vijay, note karte chalo, please, huh? Please.
Now one Google format was given and I have already sent the reply.
Thank you, sir.
And I agree with that. The industry people can be given some platform, associate member with their voting. that's okay. But the time bound thing is that all of us have got from UGC one draft regulation. It issued on 3rd January. Vice President spoke something. Around 13 to 14 points are there, say, other university may comply, but say medical university, I represent a health university, and where we have nothing to do with that. So uniformity cannot be possible because so engineering, medical, legal, and other universities, they may have their own attributes. So medical, those who are here representing medical university, they will see that at least 10 to 12 points we have nothing to do. And is it a replacement of NAC or it is additional to NAC? It's not clear because UGC has asked to give the comments or suggestion, and it is binding to us, or it is, and I don't know what AIU can do on that. So we have to reply and as a association, we have to put forth and we have to tell, and which should be suitable for everybody. So please think of it.
So what we are thinking of having, and that's what I asked Professor Pillai and ma'am also, to hold a conference and views of all the vice chancellors. Maybe zone-wise we can do on draft regulation. If Professor Pillai and in each zone, and then we can have a central kind of a thing. And that is what I am Secretary General and all of us three are wanting. We really want to put our views to the government and to the society that all of us think collectively like this.
Time is running out by 2nd February. We have to send the reply.
But one thing I would like to mention that if you read the regulation, I think it's para 1.5 new regulations. It says that if in a subject, a body constituted by the parliament exists, then they can be framing the rules and regulations for that. So since this National Medical Commission is formed by an act of parliament, therefore I think they will be out of this purview. But you please check 1.5 as far as I remember, but do check it.
No, but still it needs a lot of deliberation. I think the statutory he can be, but sir, please. Please, can you pass mic to them? Okay.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I have a small request to make with AIU. You have been doing a wonderful job. I've seen the doyens from the last 100 years who have started a different kind of voice as far as the higher education institution is concerned. If the higher education institution has to be at the higher level, I think one of the most important agenda that we need to keep that the university should be supported with the teaching faculty now. The teaching faculty immediately after the retirement are kept, all the time open, and we are managing with the small, piecemeal engineering. And if AIU can intervene in terms of convincing the policymakers that the teachers are very, very important as far as the higher education institution is concerned, that will be a wonderful job. We will raise our voice. We have already started to raise and imposing our pressure on the government of Karnataka, saying that no universities can survive today without the qualified teachers. Having seen all the doyens here, all the academic administrators, I'm really thrilled that still we have hopes that the universities can survive, and then we will do a better job in the days to come. Number one. Number two, I also request you, because you have been absolutely going around the world, that all the time when every expert spoke, I'll take 1 more minute, sir. Every expert spoke, we have all the time the top-down approach. We need to also see the bottom-to-top approach where the student's voice also needs to be heard this time. And this is something very right. Professor Pillai also gave us this framework yesterday. And I also request that we need to have a bottom-to-top approach to understand also the requirements and the concerns of the students so that the higher education institution becomes absolutely higher in its level. Thank you so much. And before I close, my sincere thanks to AIU for a wonderful arrangement, and my also gratitude to the VIT for the wonderful job that they've done. Everybody from the security to driver and then the food, everything is taken care. And we are really grateful to from the Karnataka. On behalf of all my colleagues here, I sincerely thank both AIU as well as VIT. Thank you so much for the
Thank you,
opportunity.
sir, for your wonderful suggestion. We have noted and they are actually path-breaking suggestions. So let's see, we really want to go higher for this. We have reported, we have actually noted and we will do the needful. Sir, please.
Sir, I wish to reflect on what Professor Rajashekharan Pillai was sharing. The NEP compliance Google format shared by the UGC is very, very rigid. We would request the AIU to please take it up with the authorities concerned. You know, Sir was mentioning about some issues. It says entitlements and privileges to the universities might be withheld. It is as serious as that. So our request to AIU is to kindly arrange for an online session where we can voice our concerns so that AIU may take it up with the authorities. I wish to again underline this. Entitlements and privileges meant for the universities might be an issue in future if these NEP aspects are not complied with. And it's quite a rigid framework. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think similar ideas we are getting on WhatsApp and a lot of social media trolls and memes are also going on. I think Secretary General Madam, we have requested also, and we will follow that in this week, maybe around 23rd, 24th, we should have an online conference and note these views and tell it to UGC. I think that's a prime duty and the aspiration of all our members.
So we have sought the comments of the Vice Chancellors by 20th of January. So once we receive it by 20th of January, then we'll compile it at our level. And then by 23rd, 24th, we can be having one meeting.
Or after 26th, when the Republic goes. So we will we should have a-
Somewhere in January. we'll
Yes, because we have to write back to them on 30th, no? So that is important. Any other member will have a suggestion? Please, sir.
Congratulations on behalf of all of us. Today's programs went on well. That's up to President, Vice President, and Secretary General. And a lot of benefits we are getting on behalf of AE. We appreciate you. But still, in the case of automation and digitalization, though e-Samarth and other things are there, and I request AIU can take some special efforts, particularly those universities who are in rural places, to come forward to give additional support in order to make both automation and digitalization. Thank you.
So very nice idea. We have noted it down. Any other members? Okay. So thank you very much for this. Oh, okay. So I think all of you agree upon the kind of, as sir has told, that we are going to take autonomous college as a associate membership. That is one important thing. The second is that we have got a committee under Professor Pillai sir to have standalone institution and industry as also a partnership kind of a thing, which we will certainly deliberate upon. So from this business session, we are taking these things. And the third is we have to deliberate on the UGC draft regulations and get back to the voices of our honorable members to the UGC and the government, that what they feel about these regulations. So these are the three takeaways which I am taking from the business session, and I am noting it down as an approved from you. Thank you very much for attending this important session, and this is important for the organization. We believe and we assure you that AIU will remain the voices of all honorable members. They will be the voices for putting the education at a higher level, and education in India, we will be raising voices, and are committed to make the generation next AIU, which has an aspirations for all of our vice chancellors, faculty members, and students. Thank you very much for attending this important session. Thanks to all.
Thank you very much. And we'll straight away start with the valedictory session.
learned colleagues, we have come to the end of the 2 days deliberation. That is the Association of Indian Universities South Zone Vice Chancellor Conference 2024 and 25. So we had a very interesting deliberations, discussions, and talk. Now we have come to an end. Now the valedictory function is starting now. Now I request our respected Vice Chancellor of VIT, Dr. V.S. Kanchana Bhaskaran, Vice Chancellor, to welcome the dignitaries on the dais as well as off the dais.
Good afternoon, all. Honorable Chancellor of VIT, Dr. J. Viswanathan, our esteemed Chief Guest, Professor Ganesan Kannabiran, Director, National Assessment and Accreditation Council, NAC, Professor Vinay Kumar Pathak, President of AIU and Vice Chancellor of CSJM University, Kanpur, Professor V.N. Rajashekaran Pillai, Vice President AIU and Vice Chancellor of Somaya Vidya Vihar University, Mumbai, Dr. Pankaj Mittal, Secretary General AIU, Pro Vice Chancellor, esteemed Vice Chancellor, distinguished academicians, respected Vice President and other honored guests, deans, directors, faculty, and volunteers from VIT. It's both an honor and a privilege to welcome you all to the valedictory function of the AIU South Zone Vice Chancellors Conference 2024-25. Over the past sessions, we have been engaging in insightful and thought-provoking discussions on the theme, rethinking, assessment, and evaluation, and its significant sub-themes. The deliberations have been very inspiring, bringing forth a wealth of ideas, experiences, great discussions, and good perspectives. The diverse and enriching contributions made by each of you have laid the groundwork for meaningful transformation in the higher education ecosystem of the country. We all will realize that the era of rote learning has long passed. Memorizing without understanding cannot equip our students to address real-world challenges or meet the evolving industry needs. The day India will rise is the day when the masses of this country will be awakened and the minds of the people will be enlightened. So said Swami Vivekananda. He believed in the transformative power of youth and in the context of global service. It reminds us that India's youth, with their skills and dynamism, are uniquely positioned to address the global challenges and foster progress across nations. As the world's population ages, especially in developed nations, Indian youth have a unique opportunity to cater to the global workforce demand. This calls for an education system where assessment methods foster continuous learning, adaptability, and global competencies. By doing so, India can solidify its role as both a knowledge hub and a talent reservoir for the whole world. We are at it now. The Global Capability Centers, GCCs, which form India's integration with the global markets, expect the Indian tertiary age population to be knowledgeable and highly skilled in innovation, digital technologies, and interpersonal communication. We recognize that without these skills, the demographic advantage of having the largest tertiary age population could turn into a very big challenge, leading to underemployment and unfulfilled potential. On that note, as we conclude this meet, I welcome you once again to the final proceedings of the valedictory function, where we will reflect on the outcomes, acknowledge the key contributors, and celebrate the collective spirit of collaboration that has made this conference a remarkable success. Thank you all once again for this, for your valuable presence and the contributions what you have made to the events. Together, let us continue to inspire, innovate, and lead the way in transforming education for a brighter tomorrow for all of us. Thank you.
Now it's the time to honor the guest. Now I request the President of Association of Indian Universities, Professor Vinay Kumar Pathak, to honor the chief guest of this day, Professor Ganesan Kannabiran, Director, NAC. Now I request our Honorable Chancellor, Dr. G. Vishwanathan, to honor the chief guest of today's function, Professor Ganesan Kannabiran, Director, NAC, on behalf of VIT. Thank you, sir. Now I request our Pro-Vice Chancellor of VIT, Dr. Bhattacharya Malik, to present the report on the deliberation of this 2 days South Zone Vice Chancellor Conference.
Thanks, Dr. Ruben. Our Honorable Chief Guest, Director NEC, Honorable Chancellor and Founder of VIT, Honorable President and Secretary General of AIU, Vice President of AIU and all AIU officials, our respected Vice Chancellor, organizing team, and all the respected Vice Chancellors of South Zone here. It is my pleasure to read a brief report of today's conference. Details report will be available with AIU. Here is a brief report only. The South Zone Vice Chancellors meet of the Association of Indian Universities was held at VIT, 10th and 11th. The theme of the conference was rethinking assessment and evaluation. Dr. Kanchana Bhaskaran, the Vice Chancellor of VIT, delivered the welcome address, the first day inaugural session. Dr. Mrs. Pankaj Mittal, the Secretary General and the Association of Indian Universities, delivered the background note and introductory address. His Excellency Thiru R.N. Rabi, Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, graced the inaugural session. Dr. G. Vishwanathan, the founder and chancellor of VIT, delivered the chancellor address. Professor Binoy Kumar Pathak, the president of AIU and vice chancellor CSJM University, delivered the presidential address. Professor V.N. Rajshekhar Pillai, the vice president of AIU and also the vice chancellor of Swami University, he delivered the speech during the inaugural session. Then it followed by the centenary lecture by great Professor S.P. Kincha, former Vice Chancellor of VTU Belgaum. In his centenary lecture, Professor Kincha emphasized the multifaceted challenges and responsibilities of Vice Chancellors in today's higher education landscape. He highlighted the need for visionary leadership and commitment to growth and outlined the key responsibilities of leadership in higher education, including fostering growth, educating future generations, embracing innovation, navigating external pressures, and maintaining a global perspective. Professor Kincha also outlined the characteristics of a successful Vice Chancellor. A good Vice Chancellor should be a talented, very smart individual, a skilled academic administrator with a strong affinity for their institution. A Vice Chancellor must be multi-talented, capable of navigating diverse situations with empathy. They should possess a strong financial and legal literacy, networking skills, and the flexibility to embrace the new ideas. To implement these ideas, the system, they must be dynamic, committed, and capable, Professor Kincha mentioned in his centenary lecture. Then the first session on innovation, skilling and ranking assessment, Professor Binoy Kumar Pathak chaired the session and co-chaired by our Dr. Mrs. Pankaj Mittal. The speakers of the session are Mr. Ved Mani Tiwari, Dr. Dinesh Singh, Dr. Sanjit Singh, Mr. Shujit. Professor Vinay Kumar Pathak opened the session by emphasizing the importance of startups in technological institutions. The first speaker, Mr. Shujit Jagirdar, pointed out the startups have need to be supported and that created jobs for the last 2 decades in India. Dr. Dinesh Singh emphasized the importance of fostering a culture of innovation and critical thinking of the school. The key recommendations from the sessions: prioritize innovation incubation. Universities must actively facilitate the transition of their students into startup ecosystem. Build stronger collaborations between academia and industry. Technical session 1, the sub-theme innovative assessment methods and experiential learning. The session was chaired by Professor V.N. Radhakrishnan Pillai, Raja Shekaran Pillai. The speakers of the session are Dr. S. Mohan, Dr. P.L. Dharma, Dr. Parag Diwan, and Professor K. Taranikaras. Professor V.N. Rajshekaran Pillai opened the session with an overview about the innovative assessment methods and the importance of experiential learning. He emphasized the importance of innovative assessment methods and stressed the fact that experiential learning involves understanding the context of subjects and with social relevance. Dr. S. Mohan mentioned the changes driven by AI technology in education and the urgent need to reinvent teaching, learning, and assessment methodology. Professor P.L. Dharma shared his experiences with experiential learning methods implemented in his university. And Professor Parag Diwan emphasized the need for innovation assessments to meet the global standards and accountability. Professor Tanikarasu had stressed the urgent need for innovative assessment methods, highlighting their potential for transformative change. The key recommendations are: instead of posing a threat to the teaching and assessment process, we should view AI as a new tool. Experiential learning is the best way to sustain public institutions. Implementing projects and internships under innovative assessment system will significantly contribute to the growth of the students. Leverage technology for AI-based evaluations, simulations, adaptive testing platforms. Empower faculty through training and resources to adopt and implement innovative teaching methods. Then the next session was on viability of one nation, one exam system. The session was chaired by Professor V. Anita, the Vice Chancellor, and the speakers of the sessions are Professor Furkan Kumar, Professor Mangalasundran Krishnan, and Dr. K. Shiva Prasad. Professor V. Anita presided over the session, Viability of One Nation, One Exam System, which explored the feasibility of implementing a single entrance exam for each academic discipline in India. Professor Furkan Kumar highlighted the challenges of adopting a one nation, one exam system in India. He expressed reservations about its suitability for a country with significant linguistic and educational diversity. On the other hand, Professor Mangalasundara Krishnan addressed the challenges and considerations of implementing a one nation, one examination system. The other speaker, Dr. K. Shiva Prasad, emphasized the significance of implementing a single common examination for each course following the full implementation of national education policy. He emphasized that UGC should convene a seminar prior to enacting any new regulations for the universities to adhere to. Then the major recommendations are: identify and address educational disparities between different boards to prevent a unified exam system for deepening the existing inequalities. Adopt a holistic approach to admissions, similar to practices at IIMs and US institutions, where entrance examinations scores are part of broader evaluation framework. Build on successful reforms like SWAM to further integrate diverse disciplines such as engineering, science, and humanities. One nation, one examination slogan should be there in mind of everyone to materialize it in the future, like the slogan, Joy Kishan, Joy Jawan. The day 2 started with technical session, very interesting technical session on continuous comprehensive assessment techniques. It was chaired by Dr. Kuldeep Kumar Raina, Vice Chancellor, MS Ramaya University of Applied Sciences. The speakers of the sessions are Professor Caesar Thomas, Professor Arun Kumar Tingala, and Professor Dayanand Aksar. Professor Caesar Thomas mentioned that in contrast to traditional assessment system, CCA is a balanced blend of tradition and innovation for holistic development and empowerment of students. Professor Thomas also introduced a list of novel techniques that can be a part of CCA, such as gaming tools for learning, AI-based analytics, scenario-based simulation, qualitative assessments, etc. Professor Arun Kumar T discussed specific shortfalls in current assessment practices and the solutions to address them. He asked the universities to set up AI ecosystem, bring curriculum changes in self-learning, and reevaluate the assessment techniques. Finally, Professor Dayanand Aksar emphasized on the pivotal role that teachers play in assessing the students. It was followed by AIU business session. It was chaired by the President, Professor Vinay Kumar Pathak, and co-chaired by the Secretary General, Dr. Mrs. Pankaj Mittal. The chief guest of valedictory session is here with us. He will deliver the valedictory address, and the presidential address will be delivered by Professor Vinay Kumar Pathak, the President of AIU. And the conference will be ended with the valedictory session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Patsardi Malik. As a part of this deliberation, AIU as showcase as requested the AIU member universities to showcase the best practices in their universities. So our vice chancellors, they have displayed the posters here and it has been evaluated. Based on this, two people will be appreciated on the dais. The best practices certificate under general category, it goes to SRM University. I request Dr. Muttamil Chelvan, Vice Chancellor of SRM University, Chennai, to come on the dais. I request our Director, NAC, Professor Ganesan Kannabiran, to felicitate. There is one more university under a special category, Dr. M, and that is Inipoya University from Mangalore, state of Karnataka. Dr. M. Vijay Kumar, Vice Chancellor, unfortunately is not here. In his absence, we are announcing this. Thank you, sir. Now I request General Secretary of Association of Indian University, Dr. Mrs. Pankaj Mittal, to address the gathering.
No, he came, but he has gone back. The chief guest of today's function and the Honorable Director of NAC, Dr. Ganesh Kanipran, who is also a very good friend. The President of AIU, Professor Vinay Kumar Pathak ji. The Chancellor of the University, again a friend, Professor G. Vishwanathan ji. The Vice President of AIU, Dr. Rashikran Pillai ji. The Vice Chancellor of this university, Dynamic Vice Chancellor, Dr. Kanchana Bhaskaran ji. The PVC, Dr. Partha Sarthi ji. And the coordinator of this program, Dr. Ruban Kumar ji. All the esteemed Vice Chancellors who are here still. Many have gone, so all the esteemed Vice Chancellors. The former President of AIU, Professor G.D. Sharma ji, I'm not able to see him, I think he has left. Dr. Furqan Kamar, who has been the Secretary General of AIU. All the team members of VIT University who have done a very hard work to make this conference successful. All the team members of AIU, especially Vijender, Shivam, and Alok, who have done a lot of work to make this conference successful. A very good afternoon to all of you and welcome to the valedictory session. First of all, I would like to thank VIT. We all have been looked after very, very well. A personal care of each and every Vice Chancellor has been taken. All these sessions, academic sessions, have been arranged very well, apt on time. So thank you, VIT. Thanks to the Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, Registrar Ruban Kumarji especially. He has been on his toes for a long time. Thank you very much. So whether it was stay arrangement or the food arrangement or the transportation arrangement or the academic arrangement, everything has been perfect. And today they will also give us the food in the South Indian style, typical South Indian style, which they call the Panthi style. So till yesterday we were eating in the North Indian style. Today we will be eating in the South Indian style Panthi on the banana leaf. So thank you very much for that. We had very good deliberations these 2 days. And a lot has been spoken about what is the need for assessment and evaluation, innovation in assessment and evaluation, what are the challenges involved, how we can be doing it. We are talking about gamification, AI. We also talk about one nation and one examination. And I could see the general feeling was that most of the vice chancellors were not liking it. So I know that assessment and evaluation is a theme which is not talked about much. So that is why we kept this theme as a theme for this particular conference, so that we deliberate a lot on this. Many a times we shy away from talking about controversial topics like one nation and one examination. But we thought that let us be very open, let us talk about it, and let us discuss whether it is really good or bad, or if it is good, what if it is bad, how it can be improved, and if it is good, then can we continue it with this for all the examinations. So I feel there were very, very good deliberations. Everything went, I wrote many notes, but now I feel the director of NAC, who is the chief guest of today's function, he is wanting to speak something, and we are also wanting to give you some time to have some Q&A from him. So that is more important. Therefore, I am not describing everything which I have written. In these 2 days are sort of a summary which has already been spoken about by Dr. Partha Sarthi. But I'm sure that the deliberations were good and you all must have benefited from this. So thank you very much for attending, and wish you all safe travels back. And we will be very happy if you join more and more in more and more numbers in all our future conferences and in many endeavors which we are taking up for, especially for you people. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words and appreciation. And now I request Vice President of Association of Indian University, Professor V. and Rajshekharan Pillai, to address the gathering.
Thank you very much. Chief guest of today's function, Professor Ganesh Kannabiran, Executive Director of the National Assessment and Accreditation Council, President of AIU, Professor Pathak, Honorable Chancellor, Founder Chancellor of this great university, Vellore Institute of Technology University, Dr. G. Vishwanathan, Dr. Pankaj Mittal, Secretary General of AIU, Dr. Parthasarathi Malik, Pro Vice Chancellor, Dr. Kanjana Bhaskaran, the Vice Chancellor of the University, Dr. Roban Kumar, Dr. Alok Kumar Mishra, distinguished Vice Chancellors, former Presidents of AIU, who are in the audience, other distinguished invitees. First of all, let me, on my personal behalf and on behalf of the AIU, once again welcome the chief guest of today's function, Professor Ganeshan Kannabiran, a distinguished engineer, teacher, and executive director of NAC, for giving the valedictory address. I also take this opportunity to congratulate all the vice chancellors who have presented their free and frank views on rethinking assessment and evaluation during the last 1.5 days. AIU thought about this particular theme, considering the discussions, deliberations happening across the country about assessment and evaluation. We know that this assessment and evaluation, we talk about the assessment evaluation of students mainly. Assessment and evaluation has to happen in the classroom. lot of policy changes have happened, but even now, there is the famous saying in the Kothari Commission report, the destiny of India, the destiny of a nation is shaped in her classrooms. That is true even now. So the teacher has a great role. The teacher who teaches in the classroom. The technology, everything, all the metrics, all the technology, they are all tools in the hands of an efficient teacher. It has to be like that. And therefore, promoting the independent initiatives of teachers and academics need to be the priority of universities. Universities are autonomous in every sense. The Board of Studies, the faculty, the Academic Council, the Board of Management, it's autonomous. How the autonomy is eroded, I think it has to be looked by the university itself. We know that there are institutions in this country, there are universities in this country with a lot of this framework and restrictions coming with quality and excellence. Quality and excellence need to be the watchwords in university education. And this quality and excellence can happen only when we empower in all sense the teacher who teaches in the classroom. Of course, the appointment of teachers, it has to happen. And we know that in the universities in the system, there are large number of vacancies of teachers, large, unimaginable number of vacancies of teachers. So without teachers, how we can teach? Without teaching, what is it that we are going to evaluate? What is we are going to assess? Technology, of course, I am repeating it, but I don't have any, hesitation in repeating it. Technology cannot teach. Only teachers can teach. But teachers need to be equipped with appropriate technology. Good teachers will understand what technology is good for assessment and evaluation. Technology-enabled teaching is there. Of course, so we see large number of courses. But ultimately, the teacher has to be imbibed with knowledge and skills along with technology. And that is how the good universities are coming up. And all this assessment, evaluation, all these things are mechanical matrices which are coming in the hands of teachers. A good teacher can identify what technology is best suited. And even now in this country, there are teachers, very eminent teachers, who do not use any particular technology for teaching, but they use their knowledge for teaching in a very significant way. So I have immense confidence only by promoting the independent initiatives of teachers in the university system, the system will thrive. We are all here as vice chancellors because we were all teachers. We did teaching, we did research, we did innovate. That's why we are vice chancellors. Let me wish all success for all of you in the southern zone vice chancellors. Of course, we were all part of one university, maybe 80 years ago, Madras University, they're one of the 3 presidency universities, one university, all these southern states. We have seen how much prodigies, how much people internationally, even Nobel laureates and all that, contributed to science, contributed to literature, have been produced by these universities and colleges in the southern region. Let us keep that tradition. Let me wish you the very best in your endeavors for promoting quality and excellence in higher education. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I request our Honorable Chancellor, Dr. G. Vishwanathan, to address the gathering.
Our chief guest of today, Professor Kannabaran, Director, National Accreditation Assessment Council, the President of the AIU, Professor V.K. Pathak, Vice President, Professor Rajsekharan Pillai, Secretary General, Dr. Pankaj Mittal, Vice Chancellor of VIT, Dr. Kanchana Bhaskaran, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Dr. Parsadi Malik, respected Vice Chancellors and other professors who are gathered here, good afternoon to you. I am happy that AIU gave us an opportunity to host you and also have discussions on important subjects. I have spent 40 years in education, but my life started in politics. I was elected to Parliament for 10 years. I was there from 1967 to 77. At that time, a bill was brought to amend the Constitution in 1976, where education was transferred from state list to concurrent list. I am one of those who voted for it. We thought that it would be better if it is in the concurrent list. Both the union government as well as state government will spend for education. But what is happening is both of them want to collect from educational institutions. We pay 18% on all construction GST to central government. And for purchase of equipments, AC, etc., it varies from 20% to 28%. In fact, students are requiring air condition nowadays. If I purchase AC, I'll have to pay 28%. Probably this is the highest in the whole world. I don't think there is any other country which collects 28%. And this is the situation now. We were under the British for more than 200 years. And higher education was started by them, and the affiliating system also was started by them. Now, our new education policy talks about putting an end to this affiliating system and other controls. At present, affiliation, approval, NOC, permission, recognition. This is higher education in India. When are you going to get out of this? Yesterday I quoted both Dr. Radhakrishnan Commission and our own Prime Minister talking about the evils of regulatory bodies and controls. Because normally controls lead to delay and delay leads to corruption. And can we avoid this in our country? We always feel the private universities that the government universities are better. When you go and sit with the Vice Chancellor of the government university, then you will feel you are better than the government university because they have so many problems. They won't give money, but they will go on asking questions. That's our country. And as I told you, we want to increase the GER in this country. And government is not playing a big role in this because especially the state universities, they don't have enough funding and they cannot accommodate more students. Most of the state universities, they restrict the admission to 2,000 to 3,000 or maximum 4,000 to 5,000. How can we improve the GER and how can the poor and the middle class will go to colleges or universities? In fact, in Vellore, we are interested in increasing the GER, not only by admitting more students. I believe in quantity with quality. That's what is done by American and other universities. Apart from that, we want to encourage the rural students studying in government schools. You know, we conduct our own entrance exam, and it's not easy to come through the entrance. We give exemption for these students from villages studying in government schools. We select one boy and one girl from each district and give everything free. It's called STARS, Support the Advancement of Rural Students. Now we are implementing this in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and Madhya Pradesh. So far in Vellore, 1,000 students are benefited by this. And 2/3 of them, half of them are girls, but when they go for employment after completing 4 years, I find that the boy or girl earn 10 times to 20 times that of the father. That's possible in higher education. That's what I want all over the country to happen. I don't know when we will be able to achieve this. The other thing we do is in Vellore, we want to make this a model district, at least in higher education. This is one of the backward districts in higher education in the state. Even though state average is 50% GER, India's average is 27%. All the southern states are above 35%. Tamil Nadu is number 1 with 50%. Kerala is number 2 with 40%. But this district is something like Bihar or UP. We are coming down compared to others. So we want to do something, the district to come up in higher education. And we have started a public trust. It's called UHET, Universal Higher Education Trust. In Tamil, we call it Anavarukkum Uyar Kalvi. Everybody gets higher education. We persuade the students not to stop with class 10 or 12 and go for any degree or diploma which they get or which they deserve. And we try to give them financial assistance. So far, 10,000 students have been given financial assistance in this district. And I must tell you that the money, more than 60% comes from VIT, the rest is collected from the public. I would like to thank and congratulate our teachers. They contribute 1 day's salary in a year. This year they gave 94 lakhs of rupees. And apart from that, we collect some more and give it to the students. I would very much like the other universities also to do something like this, especially in backward areas, rural areas, so that we cannot wait till the government increases its budget. I don't know when it is going to happen. In the 77 years, it has not happened. We have never crossed 3 or 3.5% of the GDP on education, even though all advanced countries, they spend 5%, 6%, somebody goes even up to 7%. I hope someday it will happen, but till the time we cannot wait because our democracy depends, our economic development depends, and democracy depends on the vigilance of the people. Only with higher education, we can make the people vigilant. Ignorance and poverty are the biggest diseases of our country. There are 23 crores of people who are still poverty-stricken. And you know, in higher education, it's around 75%. They do not have higher education or an opportunity to go for higher education. How are we going to change this? And what should be our role, the university's role in educating the public of this country? Of course, I request AIU to discuss such things also so that the importance will be felt by the union government as well as state governments, because see, we have brought a number of changes in economy, which was started by Narasimha Rao Manmohan Singh combination in 1991. It was called liberalization, privatization, globalization, new economic policy, LPG. To a large extent, economy has been liberated. That is, Lakshmi has been liberated, but still Saraswati is in chains. That's what I want to request the government, that Saraswati also deserves to be removed out of the chains. Why should we have so many controls, so many bodies, even though the new education policy talks about removing all these controls and having only one body, Higher Education Commission of India. It is 4 years now. I don't know where it is going to burn or when it is going to happen. And we get everything every week we get some instruction or other. But the authorities never meet the institutions. AICT, to my knowledge, now we are 40 years old, I have never met the colleges. UGC has never met the universities. I think only once, about 15 or 20 years ago, when Mr. Kapil Sibal was the Minister for Education, he once called for a meeting. That was the only meeting which was held in the last 50, 20 years. After that, there was no meeting. I want them to discuss with the stakeholders so that they can take better decisions. Now, they took a decision. Of course, it is not a decision, it's a suggestion. And immediately, Tamil Nadu government has passed a bill opposing it, opposing the UGC rules on the appointment of governors. We know that. Of course, it's a big problem. We cannot discuss this here. But only thing is, as I mentioned yesterday, that education should be kept above controversies. All the political parties and governments should sit together. And also the government, they know that it is not only union government, state government also have powers on education. And periodically they should meet either at the minister's level or at the secretary's level so that these controversies can be brought down and we can concentrate on the quantity and quality of education in this country so that the country will come up economically. How come? Now it is 77 years old, still we have not reached the level of what is called, to be called advanced country. They say $14,000 to $15,000 per capita is the norm for calling a country advanced country. And I don't know when we are going to achieve that. We are at 2,700. I always say that the big neighbor China, it was behind us in 1990. We were $50 ahead of China in 1990. Now, in the last 35 years, they have overtaken us. Ours is 2,700. They have crossed $13,000. Of course, not only for in the industry, in education also they concentrated. In manufacturing, they concentrated. It's possible for us also. We can do it. We must be able to compete with these countries like China, US, because where they are there, our competitors in higher education. And our students are going and spending lakhs and lakhs in various countries for their higher education. And we are not on par with them. That's because we are lagging behind in research, publications, patents, etc. And this is something where I would like the government to take care of this, both the state government as well as the union government. Ultimately, they say we will have only 3 kinds of higher education institutions. I don't know whether it will happen. In fact, I was trying to find out from our friend, Dr. Kannapuran, he says he has not heard about it. And if it comes, then it will be very good. Otherwise, this 55,000 colleges will continue. The universities will, it's difficult to start a university. I don't know how many of you are aware. It's not easy to start a state-private university. Of course, in some states it's possible, but in other states, you will have to spend a lot of money on starting the university itself. Afterwards, you will have to finance the university. And ultimately, it all leads to the increase in the tuition fees, which I don't want to happen because the poor people are unable to pay. Why they are unable to come to private universities or colleges? The fees is high. I would very much like the government to see that the fees is reduced by not collecting taxes from us. Of course, other forms of collection also can be stopped if it is liked by the governments. Only then we can bring down the fees so that more students can be admitted in private colleges and universities. And I would very much like all our vice chancellors to attend such meetings of AIU. I find only half of you have come. The rest of them also coming. The government, probably the government is not encouraging you to have such meetings because there are rarely, I find a government university, central government university coming. I think only Pondicherry is there. I don't know whether there is any other university. I would very much like all of us to join together so that our voice will be heard by the government. And if there is anything to be rectified, we are prepared to do it. And the government should meet us and tell us what is wrong with some of the universities or other things. And that's why I would request the government, they should meet the stakeholders once in a year at least. And also the union government should meet the states, because this is a federal country, and education being in the concurrent subject, they cannot take decisions on their own and then the state will oppose it, etc. It cannot happen. Once they discuss and take a decision, there will be absolutely no problem as far as education is concerned, because education is common to all castes, all religions, all states, and all languages. And we want to be one of the advanced countries of the world, and it can happen only if there is unanimity on education and offering education to all our poor and middle class children. Once again, I thank AIU for giving this opportunity to host this conference to VIT. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And now I request President of AIU, Professor Vinay Kumar Pathak, to address the gathering.
Honorable Chancellor of this esteemed university, Professor Viswanathan. I never thought otherwise I would have spoken earlier to him, because he has taken my all points. Thank you. The chief guest of today's function, Professor Ganesh Karniveran, I think whose institution myself, our Vice President, Professor Pillai, Professor Pankaj Mittal, the Pro-Vice Chancellor, the Vice Chancellor, and the person who is conducting the things, and the fellow Vice Chancellors. I think we have discussed everything. The Chancellor of the university has put a lot of points. We have deliberated for 2 days. The only first important thing I want to say that VIT has conducted it nicely. So I want all of you to thank them by wonderful work by the Vice Chancellor and her team. And this is the only university which has got, I think that Viswanathan told that it has got a lady Vice Chancellor and a lady Registrar. And AIU has also got a lady Secretary General. So 3 combinations. Important thing that, yes, we have got problems. Yes, we are not deliberating it in a nice way. We have got institutions who don't pay salary to the teachers. Here are the institutions who don't have teachers. These are moot questions. Moot questions has to go beyond. Fees are increasing. There are students who can pay 50 lakhs. There are students who cannot pay even 500 rupees to the universities. Country is big. Solutions may be different. But one important thing which I really want to point at this place, when this country was very poor, when this country was not having enough technology, when this country was not having the freedom, and the other country which was having everything, good economy and those things, then still this country in the world has given Gandhi and the other country has given Hitler. So rightly our father of nation has told in one of his speeches that my illiterate but wise mother told. So in this country, literacy may be less, GER may be less, but this country has not gone for the literacy and all those things. This country has already vouched for the wisdom. And I always feel that maybe we will good in the technologies, we may be good in the defense technology, may be good in the science and kind of a thing, but without values in the education, it is nothing. And you look whenever in this world at this time, when there are a lot of fights and a lot of wars are going on, we don't have any Gandhi to just keep it up, and we are fighting and fighting and fighting. We are talking about Gandhi 3.0 in this country. So I don't want to speak because we want to hear, I think, to the honorable chief guest who has come from Bangalore and has to go from Bangalore. We are hungry also. With this couplets of our sutras which is there, that Ano, Bhadra, Kratto, Yantu, Vishwata. Let noble thoughts come to me from all directions, and the couplets of the person who is one of the author and our alumni, late Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee. I will finish with me that he has got a nice couplet, but it is in Hindi. So, but I know that a lot of you know Hindi. So that is, टूटे हुए सपने की कौन सुने सिसकी, अंतर को चीर व्यथा पलाकों पे ठिठकी, हार नहीं मानूंगा रार नहीं ठानूंगा, काल के कपार पर लिखता मिटाता हूँ, गीत नया गाता हूँ. All the best, and I will invite the chief guest to speech, and he will have some question answers, which will be good. So if you have got questions from Dr. Panivaran, please write on a piece of paper. I will request Shivam to circulate that paper so that he can answer. He is interested more in an interactive session, and we also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Before we call upon the chief guest, now I request Dr. Merlin to give a brief introduction about our chief guest, Professor Ganesan Kannabiran.
Good afternoon to all of you. The Chancellor, Vishwanathan sir, the President AIU, Vice President AIU, General Secretary General AIU, the Vice Chancellor, the Pro-Vice Chancellors, and all other distinguished Vice Chancellors who have been attending this conference for 2 days. I'm very happy that I'm here to deliver the valedictory address, and thank you AIU for inviting me, and I'm very happy to visit another time to VIT Vellore. I've come a couple of times before. And as someone was telling that the government institutions versus private institutions, the entire career of my career is in government institutions, be it a professor or dean or director and all that. We always look up to the private institutions. And when I was the director of IIIT in Andhra Pradesh, we hired a couple of faculty who worked in VIT before. So in every meeting, I used to ask him, how is it done in VIT? So there are a lot of learnings from private institutions, and VIT is on top of the list. And we are very happy that, I'm very personally happy that I'm visiting VIT once more. And of course, you had a topic or a theme for the 2-day conferences, rethinking assessment and evaluation. I think you had a very good discussion. I was listening to the report presented by the Pro-Vice Chancellor. And I think when you are talking about assessing students, and we want to talk about assessing institutions. And in that respect, as a director of NAC, of course, my senior Rajshekharan Pillai sir is here. And so I took over as director of NAC about 18 months ago. There were so many things happening in the system, and I was asked to look at few specific things. One is to look at how do we do assessment and accreditation in the context of NEP 2020. And as all of you know, there are close to 50,000 institutions and about 1,700 universities. In the last 5 years plus, we have only accredited 42% of universities, and only 33% of universities have valid grade. Which means that the difference in percentage, about 9% of universities have now not come for second cycle. And out of 45,000 plus colleges, we have accredited only 23%. And out of that, only 13% have valid accreditation. Which means this difference in percentage of 33 to 13, about 20% of institution colleges have not come for accreditation again. So we are just wondering, why is this happening? I mean, we generally as a system, we are losing faith in assessing. Basically, we are not looking at the requirements of quality in fundamentally. The other thing is, if you carefully read the NEP 2020 policy document, the higher education section, there are 14 places in which the term accreditation is used. Now, if you do an analysis, what we call as content analysis, it says that assessment will become the prerequisite for regulation. Meaning that today regulators ask you to do certain things. On top of it, assessment, accreditation comes. But they want to revert this assessment to becoming the bottom line for regulation. And all autonomy, funds, or internationalization, financial autonomy, all that is based on accreditation. Therefore, the current efforts at NAC is taking lessons from the NEP 2020 and saying this. So the first one I said, we are looking at why these many institutions have come for accreditation, have not come for second cycle. Why the remaining large percentage of institutions are not coming for accreditation. And how do we look at NEP 2020 requirements in accreditation? And lastly, Viswanathan sir was talking about, the GER. Now, one side, we want the GER to go to 50% by 2037. And even with the current GER, there are a lot of challenges. The graduates who are coming out of the colleges are not getting jobs. Their employability is a challenge. Their onboarding to the societal systems is a challenge. And although we have sporadic examples of, unicorns and entrepreneurs coming out of these universities, the number is not good enough. So the quality of education is fundamentally a problem. If for the current percentage of GER, if you are not able to achieve good outcomes, and when it increases to 50%, you can imagine what will happen. Therefore, we are looking at all these together in our mind, and we have been working for the last 1 year. And when I joined as director of NAC, that's when the Radhakrishnan committee was in the very final stage. I got onboarded. And today, the report is released. We are working on it. And although we announced certain dates for launch of the first phase of accreditation, what we originally called a binary accreditation, which is going to be now called as basic accreditation. So which is fully ready and it is going to be launched. The second one is called maturity-based graded levels, which is a very unique, approach to assess institutions. And that is going to be introduced along with the binary accreditation. Some of you have participated in our workshops where we consulted close to more than 100 head of institutions for bringing this binary accreditation or basic accreditation. And we are going one more round of discussions, particularly, the deemed universities, private universities, which are leading actually to many things. For example, today achievement in GR is because of the private university, not because of government universities. There are a lot of best practices also created by private universities. So we are looking up to the private universities in a big way when we are launching the graded levels. And of course, beyond this, we have also committed to the government that we will cover 90% of institutions in the next 5 years, which means that another 35,000 colleges to be accredited and, the universities to be accredited. With these, of course, we have, with the leaders like Dr. Rajshekharan Pillai, NAC has grown into a big organization. Of course, there are challenges. There are a lot of criticisms about NAC processes and the way in which grades were given and the non-entities which are into the field, which are creating issues. And of course, in the last 1 year or so, we have put so many controls on those things, and we are able to achieve some, level of success. I don't claim that we have completely, removed the issues. And having completed 30 years now, then we are looking at the launch of 2 different levels, the basic accreditation and the levels, and with an objective of bringing 90% of institutions under accreditation. And one of the things that we are looking at now is that we don't want to be an organization which is just waiting for institutions to come for accreditation. We want to go to the institutions. How do we do that? The remaining 35,000 colleges is our target now. So there are 2 things primarily we have picked up from the Dr. Radhakrishnan committee report. The first one being that we want handhold institutions, meaning that we want to go to the institutions, talk to them and find out why they are not coming for accreditation, what is the kind of support they need. We are now setting up a sort of a division within NAC, which will handhold institutions. We are setting up a 24/7 help desk to help institutions. And the other one is India being a large country, a lot of institutions are located in the rural and remote locations and tribal areas. What is that we can do to mainstream these institutions? So we are setting up a mentor program to help these institutions. So we are going to appoint senior professors or retired professors who are very active and who understand NAC process to be mentors to help these institutions. And they will be onboarded through a process, and they will be supported for travel, and there will be an honorarium paid to them. And this is a new program that we are going to launch. And also we're going to work with entities, organizations who are in the field of higher education to help us to do this handholding and mentoring. In fact, there is a proposal that AIU will become a partner to NAC to do this job. And we will also be happy to work with organizations like AIU and other NGOs and organizations which are in the field of higher education to work. And having spent 30 years now, there are 3 activities. I'll take a minute to explain. I know that I'm between you and your lunch. The first one is that we are setting up a research center. And there is no specific organization in India doing research towards higher education quality. Although there are project calls by ICSSR and other organizations, there are no bodies. Now that we have a lot of data about institutions and we continue to collect data, why not we use this data and come out with insights for policy making in higher education? So this center is already formally announced, and we have allocated some funds also for that. And we will be calling for proposals from the academia to apply for projects on themes that are given by the UGC and Government of India. To start with, we plan to give about 6 to 10 research projects to take up research on higher education quality. As I told, the objective of this research is to provide insights for higher education policy making. The second one is about, we are getting into a little bit on social responsibility. We are setting up what is called NAC social responsibility clusters. And we are starting with, one in Bangalore. Of course, there is a suggestion that we need to start in other locations. The idea is, today, we understand skilling is the problem. And our graduates go through colleges, get degrees, good percentage of marks and grades, but still they are not getting jobs or not able to start their own ventures. Therefore, we want to look at being a nodal agency, being connected with a large number of institutions. Why not we look at connect 3 different stakeholders: the universities and colleges at one side, the school on the other side, and the youth who are employed in the neighborhoods, be it in Bangalore or Vellore or any place, and we want to connect them. And NAC will be an enabler to bring these 3 sets of stakeholders for mutual benefits. So, in fact, we will be keen to work with VIT Vellore for creating a cluster in Vellore, connecting these 3 sets of stakeholders. The third one is about internationalization of NAC. So here, of course, we in the last 30 years, I'm sure that Dr. Sir, our Pillais are also, Rajashekharan Pillais are also aware, we have been a good agency globally, and we have created best practices. There are other international agencies looking at us for good practices. But then in the recent times, we had aberrations, there are issues. There was a dip in reputation of NAC, but then we want to come back and start looking at going global. And we are now in talk with global agencies for working together. In that process, we want to go to other countries, SAARC countries and some African countries, accredit institutions and universities and colleges in those countries. And we also want to launch conferences, participate in global events, and we want to send delegations sponsored by NAC, which will also include select vice chancellors as part of the delegation to go and learn. And the last one under internationalization is also we are looking at launching a practitioner journal on higher education quality. So these are some of the things that are happening. I'm not getting into two important things, the basic accreditation and the maturity levels. We had announced certain details through media. And of course, we didn't formally launch. That's why I'm not talking about it. But however, I can answer some questions if there is time. Of course, it is already 2:15. Yeah. Yeah. Sir, please go ahead.
Thank you very much for your lecture. And I think NAC has been doing a lot in recent years and making it in sync with the national education policy. There is one peculiar situation with which we are faced in our country. For example, if I ask this question, is MIT Cambridge accredited? The answer is yes. In India, the top 100 public institutions, the institutions of national importance, are yet not accredited, though the NAC's mandate is to cover them all. And I think international people often ask this question, that is it that only the second-rate institutions are accredited by NAC? So is NAC doing something, is the government doing something to bring in the best one into the fold of NAC accreditation?
Yes, sir. So that's a very valid point, very well articulated. Now, NEP 2020 talks about bringing all institutions. Dr. Radhakrishnan committee also talks about bringing all institutions under accreditation, which means IITs, NITs, IIITs, all of them. And the current maturity-based levels is also incorporating with an idea of involving them. But as you know, these institutions always have sort of exclusivity. I mean, they think they are different from other institutions, and somehow they maintain the exclusivity. But the time has come that all the institutions will be under accreditation. That is also the sort of line of thinking of the government.
Director sir, thank you so much for the opportunity. From Mangalore University, Karnataka. Thank you for the wonderful job that you have been doing. I have a small concern to present to you. We have a great legacy of 4 decades in the higher education in coastal district of Karnataka. We are doing very well in terms of the publications, patent, and all kinds of activities that is required by the NAC. When we were last time assessed, we were placed at B for the simple reason that we do not have the permanent faculty with us. Basically, we have 256 permanent faculties, but at the present, we are working only with the 86. And please have certain concern for such institutions where for not of our fault, we have been placed at the lower level. And as a result, we are not able to consult any, big funding agencies because, they always look at us as to where we stand on the NAC accreditation.
Okay.
I request you, please make a policy and have little concerns to such institutions and then grade them in such a way, if the research publications are high and then the patents are absolutely good and the campuses in itself is doing wonderful job and the best practices are very high, give us little more, the positive note, and then have a concern for such institutions where for none of
Yes, I got your point.
Thank you so much.
So first thing is, if I'm correct, the number of faculty that we consider in our metrics is not permanent faculty. It is only those faculty who taught 2 semesters consecutively and covered 90% of syllabus. I don't think we are asking permanent faculty. Okay. That's a point number 1. Point number 2 is, it is also important at some point in time that you need to take steps to appoint faculty. Okay. Look at Karnataka, for example. I think no politics involved, but last 15 years or something, no recruitment. There was an article recently in Hindu which talks about there are 8 universities, not even 1 permanent faculty. All are contract faculty. Unless otherwise, actually, NAC lower accreditation to you will help you to tell the government that because of the reason that we are not able to fill vacancies, we are getting lower grade. I mean, maybe. Okay. The other thing is the current methodology, what we call as revised accreditation framework, has close to 49% of the weightage around input and a little bit on process. Dr. Radhakrishnan committee talks about shift from input-oriented assessment to outcome and impact-oriented assessment. So the new methodology, particularly the basic as well as the maturity levels, we will have very high percentage on the outcomes. As you said, your IPRs and your publications and all that will have higher weightage and less on input, so that you are able to do better in the grading.
So I have two questions. First question is, in the last meeting in April, Hyderabad, we are told that very soon this deadline that will be announced, that basic and level. So we are yet to know when it will start.
Yeah.
And the second question, recently we got some question for suggestion and from UGC. So this will be an additional accreditation process, or it is the replacement of NAC?
Correct. So the first thing is about, actually, this is very complex when we started working on this new framework. The recommendations were very high level, but when you translate the recommendations in actionable methodology framework, it became very difficult. And there are conflicting objectives. Okay, you want to bring in more institutions. If you want to bring in more institutions to accreditation through the basic accreditation, unless otherwise you dilute the metrics or the benchmarks, it's not possible. So that within our own committees, one set of people talking about, we cannot dilute the benchmarks, but we need to look at other ways of increasing the percentage of institutions. So these discussions went on for some time. Now that the basic accreditation framework is ready, actually it was a suggestion from the government that when we launch basic accreditation in a big way, we are also liable to tell what is this maturity-based graded levels. So therefore, we just want to finalize that. It will be probably launched in March. At that time, we will also talk about what is the high-level framework of the maturity-based graded levels. Okay. So within this next 2 months, this will happen. Okay. Otherwise, basic accreditation process, the portal almost is ready. Moving to the second point that talked about the UGC regulation, we are also a little concerned about it, because there are qualifiers and quantifiers, and they put the NAC accreditation as the seventh qualifier item. So, but still, unless otherwise you are accredited by NAC, whatever you are not qualifying to the quantifiers. So, and in informal basis, I understand that since we are not come out with the accreditation, okay, see, we stopped application as of June 30th last year, and we are not accepting applications. So those institutions currently in the process have to have an opportunity to become this. So that is why they are looking at, and there is also a push for making institutions to adapt NEP 2020, a sort of other way of making the institutions adopt. Therefore, this is brought. But once we come out with both basic accreditation and levels, this will get slightly changed and implemented. Yeah. This is sort of plus.
Good afternoon.
The last one. The
last question. Sir is available during the lunchtime. Yeah. Others you can discuss.
Good.
So last question now.
Last one.
Yeah. Sir, I'm Vice Chancellor, VIT AP University. Thank you very much for sharing that in March we are going to get this binary accreditation format. Along with binary accreditation format, are you going to give the format for the grading also?
Yes.
Or,
yes.
Okay. Then what would be the time frame once we get the binary accreditation? Then afterwards, what would be the time frame for going for the grading?
Okay.
This is what actually I want to ask.
Yeah, good. So when we launch binary accreditation, this is only for those institutions which are not accredited by NAC in the last 5 years. Any institution which is accredited by NAC in the last 5 years, whether the grade is valid or grade is not valid, they will be directly, they can directly go to the levels. Okay. But when we launch the binary accreditation, the registration then submission of what you call institutional self-assessment reports. And then we are talking about 30 to 45 days cycle time to complete this. An institution submits the application within 30 days, we will accredit, as opposed to the current 3 months, 4 months, 8 months, whatever you are talking about. The second aspect is that you talked about whether the maturity-based graded levels will also be announced. A high-level framework will be announced. Further, based on consultation, it will be fine-tuned and launched sometime in May, so that the current year academic data, the data of the institution, can also be included. Thank you. No, we will discuss. It's 2:30. Thank you. Thank you. Definitely, I'll discuss with you.
Thank you, sir, for the elaborate explanation. Others, if you have any queries during the lunchtime, you can have it. Now I request Mr. Vijendra Kumar, Head Meeting Division of AIU, to propose the word of thanks.
Very good afternoon to all the esteemed dignitaries and all the vice chancellors of South Zone. Especially, I must welcome the chief guest of the valedictory session, Dr. Kannivaran sir, Director NEC, who came from Bangalore to attend the valedictory session. My special thanks to Professor Vinay Kumar Pathak sir, President AIU, Professor Rasekhan Pillai sir, Vice President AIU, Dr. Mrs. Pankaj Mittal, Secretary General AIU, Dr. G. Biswanath sir, Honorable Chancellor of VIT, Dr. V.S. Kancha Vaskaran, Vice Chancellor, Bangalore Institute of Technology, and all the esteemed Vice Chancellors of South Zone. As you welcome to the end of the 2 days event of AI South Zone Vice Chancellor Conference, it's my honor and privilege to express my heartfelt thanks and gratitude to all of those who contributed in the success of event of AIU South Zone Vice Chancellor Meet. Firstly, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the chief guest, His Excellency Thiru R.N. Ravi, Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, for gracing with all his esteemed presence and delivering the inaugural address of AIU South Zone Vice Chancellors Conference. His word of wisdom have truly inspired all of us, and we are deeply honored by his kind participation during the inaugural session. We also thank all the distinguished speakers, chairpersons, session chairs, all the speakers of the session for their esteemed knowledge and expertise. From the insightful discussion on innovative assessment methods to engaging the conversation on the continuous comprehensive assessment, each session has been enlightening. A special thanks to Professor H.B. Kintija sir for delivering the second centenary lecture of AIU. A warm thanks to Dr. G. Biswanathan sir, Founder, Chancellor VIT, and Dr. Shekhar Viswanathan, Vice President AIU, Dr. Sankar Viswanathan, Vice President AIU, Dr. G.V. Selvam, VP, VIT, Miss Kadambari S. Viswanathan, Assistant VP, Dr. Sandhya Vanta Reddy, Executive Director VIT, Dr. Ramabala Subramaniam, Trustee, Dr. Partha Sartha Malik, Pro VC, Dr. Ruban Kumar, Nodal Officer, Dr. Velu Murugan sir, who has done all the constant support for arranging transportation from Bangalore and Chennai to the Vellore. Dr. Anna Nambi Raj sir, who has looked after accommodations at VIT guest house and all the hotels of the Vellore. Dr. Sujata R, Mr. Sudan, Dr. Marlene Matthew, ma'am, all the teaching faculties, students, technical team, and there are a lot of persons who are also behind the scene. My special thanks to all the team VIT for their warm hospitality. I also would like to thank Professor Vinay Kumar Pathak, President AIU, Professor Rasekhan Pillai sir, Vice President AIU, Dr. Mrs. Pankaj Mittal, Secretary General AIU, for their constant guidance for making the conference very successful. And in this South Zone Vice Chancellor Conference, This is the largest participation since last, I think, 8 to 10 years, because 106 Vice Chancellor of South Zone has participated in this event. Last but not the least, I would like to acknowledge the hard work and dedication of the event of all the management of VIT. And the event was meticulously planned and executed every detail of this event. My sincere thanks to Dr. Alok Misra, Joint Secretary AIU, Mr. Shivam Dikshit, Head IT, and all the AIU staff who are working from AIU house at Delhi. Now, as we conclude, let us carry forward the learning from this conference and work together to rethink, define the future of assessment and evaluations in education institution. Once again, many thanks to all the esteemed Vice Chancellors for attending the Journal Conference and make it a successful event. I wish you very happy and pleasant journey. Thank you.
I'll just, 1 second, sir.
Thank you. Now I request Professor Ganeshan Kannabiran to
Yeah,
say
yeah.
a few words.
Yeah. So I brought a banyan tree to be given to VIT Vellore. VIT Vellore itself is a banyan tree. Okay, so I do not receive any mementos from any institution. And I only give mementos to the institution. Although, he felicitated me with a lot of respect, I may not take it, but I will only give mementos to the institution. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words and gifts, sir. Now it's a time to raise up for national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष माहे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you. We humbly request you all to join for the lunch, and we wish you to have a safe journey back to your